listening along the way and making some modifications to a point. Looking forward to some more. I especially want to thank Supervisor Barber, who had her office and her planners have been working hard to make this project palatable, if it can get to that point. And then lastly, I want to thank the community for coming out. One of my favorite things about being on the city council, every meeting and everything like this, is hearing from what people have to say. So come up, speak your mind, and try to fit it into that time window. And we really look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Supervisor Catherine Barter. If she has a few words she might want to say.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you all. I've said all along, and prior to being a supervisor, I handled this issue, health, mental health, children's services, and welfare. And I've said, and I've told CORE this, in order for a project to work, the community has to be behind it. And there's been some misinformation in terms of this being a county project. It is not a county project. The only role the county had was they applied for a grant, a $7 million grant, which we pulled back and we found out, or I pulled back and we found out that they had not done community outreach. Because, as I've said, the community needs to be involved. So I appreciate the acknowledgement as it relates to the role that our office has played. I want to thank CORE, who did modify the project, but make no mistake, this is a private property. Frustrated as you are, because I like to fix things, and this is very frustrating for me because I hear loud and clear, and I want to thank you all for using your voices. We've heard you, I've heard you. I want to thank my staff who has been following up Vicki out of my San Dimas office. But we need to hear from you, because this is not the only project I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with it throughout the entire unincorporated area. These projects are coming up because they are by right. And one of the things I've challenged the cities to, and that we're going to work on, is we need to force the legislature to modify the existing law so that they have to conform with the community standard districts in both the unincorporated but also the city. Because I can complain all I want, but I have to look for a solution, and that is the one solution. Because it's happening in unincorporated, it's only a matter of time before it happens in Verne and San Dimas and other cities. So I want to work with you, I promise you that. I look forward to hearing from you. I want to thank you for using your voice. First of all, that was the best Pledge of Allegiance I've ever heard. That was a powerful one. It was, and that was kind of good. But more importantly, know that you are being heard. And I think that with a lack of respect for politics today, I want you to know that we hear you loud and clear. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Bard. Just a matter of my interest, would you please raise your hand if you plan on speaking tonight? Okay, seeing the number of people that are raising their hand, I am going to make an executive decision after I consult with Tim. We are going to change it to 3 minutes. Okay, but I would ask you at the end of 3 minutes, be respectful to everybody in the, in the audience. Stop at 3 minutes and move on. And I would hate to have to say please. So just if you don't mind, we have the time up there, and then we're going to go. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Tim, who's going to introduce both the city managers and who are going to give you some ground rules for getting to that podium and saying what's on your mind.
I think he just said that, but that's good. Thank you. First of all, I want to introduce Chris Constantine. If you don't know him, the city manager of San Dimas. Thank you, Chris. You've been a leader in this also, and we really appreciate what you and your city have done. So, round of applause for Chris. Also for our city manager, Ken Domer, City of Laverne, again, they've been working back and forth on this with our county supervisors, the county supervisor staff, and all the entities involved to give us this information to our residents, to let us know where we are, what's going on, how we can all work together to discuss this and figure out what path we're going to take on this. So with that, I'm going to, as Mr. Bedard said, you guys are going to lay out the ground rules for tonight's meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Hepburn and Mayor Bedard. So this is an official special meeting of the City Council intended to receive presentation and input from the public. And so in accordance with the Brown Act, we provide an opportunity for the public to be able to address the governing body. And so we've allocated 3 minutes for each individual that wish to speak to come forth to the podium and be able to speak. While we do not require a card, I know that we have them floating around out there, so if you filled out the cards, we will take the cards, we will go in that order, but as soon as we've exhausted those cards, we will open it up for anybody else who desires to come forth and be able to make the presentation. Knowing that each presentation could be up to 3 minutes, what we ask is no more than 3 individuals line up so that the speaker who has 3 minutes, the 2 others are an additional 6, no more than 10 minutes is somebody going to be standing at the podium. And I think that's more efficient than having a line of 20 people or 1 person and trying to figure out who's going to be next. In terms of the process, we're very thankful to have National Corps, who's graciously decided to do a presentation here first. We will then go to the Department of Regional Planning, who's also in attendance, the Los Angeles County Development Authority, LOCDA, and Los Angeles County Homeless Services Authority. And we're especially grateful for Supervisor Barber's office and her staff that have come tonight to also support and provide information as necessary. We will go through all the speakers. There is no end time in terms of the meeting. So in some cases, councils establish an end time at, let's say, 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock the meeting has to stop in accordance with the Brown Act. There is no end time with regards to here. So if during the course of the meeting you were not raising your hand wanting to speak, and you're hearing something and then desire to speak, you will have that opportunity to be able to address the council. So rest assured, we'll get through all of you. As the mayors have mentioned, it is a public meeting. We know that the issues are contentious. We also know that regardless of what's being stated, it doesn't necessarily mean that your position will change. We understand the fervor that's in our communities, but what we ask, we are in a public meeting where the goal is to try to solicit as much input in terms of the process in hopes that National Corps and others take that input and utilize it for the best interest of our community, and that's the ultimate goal. Once we complete the public input process, we will turn it over to the City Council for clarifying questions that they may have of any of the 4 entities that presented today. We will offer the opportunity for the project participants to be able to respond to concerns that you raise or that the council raises. So if you have a concern, say of elevators, it will not necessarily be addressed at the moment you're speaking. Staff are taking that down, as are the four entities, to be able to address those, and we're going to try to get through all of them so you get some sort of response to something you would have raised here at the dais. After the project participants, we will turn it back to the City Council and offer them an opportunity to close each and every one of them, and then close the meeting and adjourn that. And so that will be the process. Ken, would you like to add anything?
Chris, just a clarifying question. At the last meeting, there were questions from members of the public for which some of the members of the public desired responses to pause their time. How are you going to handle that in this particular meeting? Should they state all of their questions with the expectation of getting the responses? However, last meeting, some of those responses did not materialize. So how are we going to manage that?
So we had both staff and the project participants writing down what those questions are to be able to get to them. The goal is to get to them after all speakers have presented to ensure that we're not stopping the flow of those who want to speak. The goal is to try to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to come forth on the table and provide those.
And will the questions are going to be recorded, and then it sounds like they'll be either repeated to the respondent who's going to answer them? Is that what we can expect to happen?
The respondents will be able to respond to what was raised. Staff will follow up and ensure if there's something that appears to be missed, to ask the questions of the participants to be able to get the answer.
I'm sure the room will let you know.
And yes, I'm very sure our communities are very engaged, which is the best part of living in Laverne and in San Diego. So thank you. With that, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor. I will actually start calling the speakers. Each speaker has 3 minutes, so I will read 3 names that are, I'm sorry. Yes. First, we will turn it over to the 4 project participants, starting with National Court.
Thank you, and good evening, council members and community members. We look forward to hearing from you tonight. Based on feedback we've already received, I want to share some updates. Also want to take a few minutes and share a little bit more about who National Core and the Hope Through Housing Foundation are. Tonight you'll be hearing from a few of us. My name is Greg Bradford. I'm Senior Vice President for National Core and also President of the Hope Through Housing Foundation. We also have with us Michael Delatorre, who is our Senior Vice President of Development for the Los Angeles region. AJ Galka, who's our Director of Permanent Supportive Housing and Resident Services for the Hope Through Housing Foundation, and also Courtney Richard, who is our Vice President of Property Management. So I want to start to share a little bit about who National Core is. Some of you know National Core is a locally based affordable housing organization. We were founded 30 years ago and dedicated to using affordable housing as a platform to elevate the health, the well-being, and the self-sufficiency of our residents. We are a nonprofit. That is our mission. Our mission is all about creating environments where the most vulnerable in our community can be served and where they can grow, where they can thrive, where they can be successful. You can see we have over 10,000 apartment units that we operate, over 30,000 residents. That includes children, families, seniors, special needs populations as well. And we're what we call vertically integrated, which means we do our own development and planning, we do our own construction, we do our own property management, and also supportive services. So what that means is that when we build a building, we care about it, we're going to be managing it long term, which means we want it to be successful for our residents, we want it to be successful for the community as well. But like I said, at the end of the day, this is really about people. It's about those most vulnerable, in this case, homeless seniors in our community who need that housing, and our goal is to help make them be successful. So with that, I'm going to introduce Michael Delatorre, who will share a little bit about the project and some updates that we've made there.
Great. Thank you, Greg. So first of all, I'd love to touch about kind of why we're here. Currently, Los Angeles County has a list of goals and priorities. It ranges from the location, the population, and who we're servicing. And what we did at National Core was present a proposal that aligned with those housing goals. I wanted to talk a little bit about our site selection and why we're here. So currently California is in a housing crisis. There's just not enough homes being built in Southern California. We've seen that with the latest homeless count exceeding 75,000 homeless individuals in the county of Los Angeles. Based on some of our community feedback meeting with these groups, what we've done is we refined our development proposal with some of the feedback and working with the supervisor's office. The first thing we did was revise the tenant population to focus on seniors 55 plus. We've also reduced the building house from 4 stories along Foothill and 3 stories on the south of the property. We've also increased the setback on the southern portion of the property exceeding county requirements. We've also created a drive aisle between the Montessori school and our housing development. And of course, we've included landscaping along the southern portion of the property. Again, we've revised the elevation and the architectural style to hopefully better reflect the community, bringing down the height and adding some articulation to the building. Here's a view that you're able to see the 3-story setback along the single-family homes to the south of the property. Again, our buildings will have a community center for our residents. This is a sample of some of our amenities that will be provided on site. We have open space on site for our residents. We also will have a tech center, case management offices, property management offices, and a community center for our residents to gather. Again, here are our summary of our changes to this development. Again, changing the resident population, reducing the height, increasing setbacks, including a landscaping buffer, and a setback for the Montessori school. And we've reduced the number of apartment homes, totaling 43 units, 42 for permanent supportive housing and 1 on-site property management unit. With that, I'm going to turn it over to AJ.
So a lot of the questions we received previously were really about the population here and some of the concerns about the population. So we want to talk a little bit about the services that we provide, how we manage our properties, which make all the difference in making sure that that population is safe and that they are healthy and they can be successful. So National Core has a partner organization, the Hope Through Housing Foundation, that I head up. Hope exclusively provides services across all of our 90 properties. We both have staff who provide direct services, and then we partner and contract with many other organizations to provide these services as well. There's a lot here that I'm not going to walk through all of that, but what you can see is we partner with nonprofits, government, universities, hospitals, churches, any organization that's needed to bring the resources to help those individuals be successful. Our programs range from after-school programs for kids, to financial coaching and education for our adults, to for our seniors. On the bottom right, you can see we provide health care and benefits, food distribution, fitness classes, mental wellness to our seniors, as well as case management and other mental health services for those with special needs as well. So our goal is to provide every type of service needed to these residents. Michael alluded to it. There's a great need for senior affordable housing. You might know that the fastest growing homeless population in America today are our seniors. Many of those are past teachers. They're individuals who have had a crisis in their life. They've maybe had a medical issue. They've had an accident that's caused them to fall into homelessness. And those individuals need housing. That's the first step in helping them get healthy again. Just in the Los Angeles County Service Planning Area, or SPA 3, where we sit here, the homeless point-in-time count recently showed 5,000 individuals experiencing homelessness total. Almost 600 of those were over the age of 55, and a 340% increase in homelessness among those over age 70. So clearly a huge need in this region. The services for our seniors on this property, the Hope Through Housing Foundation would be providing services. We'll also be partnering with the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services, providing services, as well as the People Concern, which is a dedicated case management organization that would provide one-on-one individual case management plans and service plans for every one of our residents. With that, I want to turn it over to AJ Galka, who's our Director of Permanent Supportive Services.
Thank you, Greg. So a lot of the work that we do, as you can see, the numbers for seniors are going up astronomically. It's about helping fellow humans. We're seeing so much changes in the homeless population. Post-pandemic, what we can kind of say post-pandemic, a lot of folks have gone through mental health crisis. They've gone through job loss. They've gone through aging or health crisis, things that all of us in this room experience. So our approach is really approaching it how I think any of us would hope that someone would approach us with, is trauma-informed care, wraparound case management services. The time can be intensive when needed. So really looking at each person's story, each person's needs, and the right dosage of intervention. Physical health care, peer support. Peer support is someone who's had that same experience that can relate. How amazing is it to connect with someone that has a shared experience as you? They feel and see something that maybe you guys can relate on, and you can create a pathway to change, a pathway to increasing connections in some way, shape, or form. Legal assistance, whether it be tickets or other things, helping people work through that, reconnecting with family. Medication management, transportation services. We're lucky that the VA does a lot of transportation, PACE does transportation, other programs that we can coordinate with ongoing. Employment services, folks 55 years or older, my brother is 54. 55 is young. And looking at different ways that people can get back to work. Figuring out ways of self-sufficiency in some way, shape, or form. Even if folks, maybe work more limited hours, finding ways to have that purpose, that sense of connection to the community and supporting some way, shape, or form, a business, a purpose in some way, shape, or form. Social activities and life skills training. Sometimes there's, figuring out how to use a thermostat, a convection oven, I know sometimes I try to figure out my air fryer. So figuring out different things that we can support our neighbors on feeling most connected to their homes. And then just by definition, permanent supportive housing is meant to be wrapped around a person's unique needs, meaning there's indefinite services, indefinite subsidy, so the rent is not in question, the rent is paid, and supports are there, pillars of support all around them. Whatever the needs may change or evolve over time, they're there to help them be successful in their housing. Assistance for folks that have disabilities in various ways, whether it's be connecting to services, supports that they need related to their disability, having a unit that's more shaped for their needs, whether it be vision impaired, physical impaired, any which way, we try to figure out ways to support folks. And then overall driver, and I think the overall purpose is to make sure people stay housed. You know, not cycling back. You know, our overall intention across, I think, our entire team of Hope and Core is to do whatever it takes to keep people housed and in their homes and safe and thriving and having a safe place to put their head down at night. So the key elements that we focus on within our permanent supportive housing is affordability, to ensure that stability, you know, that paycheck to paycheck that a lot of us experience is not an issue for them to stay housed in their circumstance. Safety and comfort, ensuring it's a quality space to live. It's a quality space to look at as a neighbor passes by. Supportive services that are accessible, flexible, targeted residential stability, meaning we ask the residents what they need. Do they need food support? Do they need on-site grocery pickup? Anything that we can do to offer those supports and the needs, any of us would really appreciate it. Well, we do that for our residents. Empowerment and independence, every single person that moves into their unit, whether they experience homeless or not, are independent. They're not conserved individuals. They've experienced hardship, and this is their place of solace. This is their place of accessing services and having a roof over their head to gain stability. It is a blessing and a gift that we provide this to other human beings. Sorry, guys. The next slide is our experience. We've done this a very long time. We have a really large portfolio, meaning we have a lot of experience. Over 608 units across California and other states, 25 sites of vulnerable populations like Greg mentioned, a wide variety of populations, whether it be our veterans that have served our country, that might experience PTSD or medical needs that need that extra support and stability to stay housed, or our seniors, or transitional age foster youth, or families. It's diverse. It's a variety of stories of how folks got there. 708 units, 21 sites that are in our pipeline, whether they're in development or in construction. So we have a lot of units coming on board. Sorry, guys. I think that is our last slide. Thank you for listening.
That concludes our presentation, but we look forward to hearing the feedback from the room and responding later in the evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave DeGrazia. I'm here from the Department of Regional Planning. So I just wanted to give a brief update on the planning process, how the entitlement process works for a project like this, and then let you know where we're at in that process. So as the supervisor mentioned earlier, because this is 100% affordable supportive housing, state law does require that we apply a ministerial permit for this. What ministerial means is we have limited authority to make changes or to deny this project if it complies with all of the county's codes and regulations. And so where we're at right now is we're still reviewing it. 2 county departments are still taking a look at it. We expect to have information back from them shortly. If all goes well with that, it could possibly be approved later this summer, possibly early fall. And that is where we're at. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Emilio Salas. I'm the Executive Director of the Los Angeles County Development Authority. We are the entity that provides the funding, or that provided the funding, debt financing for this particular project. We are the county's community, economic, and affordable housing development arm. So we do quite a variety of things on behalf of the county. But as part of that process, we also administer the Section 8 program, the Housing Authority, on behalf of the county. So we are the administrators of the Section 8 program. And I say this to paint the larger picture, really, of the things that we do aside from providing funding. We're also housing providers ourselves. So we know what it's like dealing with families that have lived with trauma in our public housing sites. And we served over 30,000 families with our Section 8 program. So we see firsthand people that are living on the margins that were it not for that rental subsidy, many of them would find themselves either couch surfing or, worst case scenario, living on the streets as well. In the case of this particular project, we were the entity that provided the final piece of funding. Sorry about that. And so let me just explain our particular role. So we have been putting out a notice of funding availability to the developer community that basically provides financing, right? And also vouchers, Section 8 vouchers, to provide for the long-term viability of many of these developments. They responded, National Corps responded to our notice of funding availability. Those applications are then, once the application deadline closes, they are scored by an independent third party. There are a group of raters with expertise in their fields. It includes architectural design, it includes supportive services, and it includes affordable housing financing. Those are the areas of expertise. They are then scored on a set of criteria, some of which you saw earlier in the slides. And once they are scored, they are given back to us. We then review their scoring system, review their results, and if there is confirmation, we then proceed with the highest scoring proposals and move those forward as funding allows. In this particular case, there were a grand total of 7 projects that were funded with the entirety of the funds that were available, one of which was this particular project here. And so that is our role. Once we do that, we then take it before the board for their final approval, and that's the stage where we're currently at right now. I just want to close by saying that, you saw the homeless count. LASA just came out with their homeless count. It increased by 9% this year, but for seniors, it increased by 11%. So that population in particular certainly is seeing a need for this particular type of housing. And I can tell you, as an entity that has done this since 1998, we've put out over $1.3 billion that have resulted in over 22,000 units. We deal with dozens and dozens of nonprofit developers. You're getting a good one. You're getting one that is actually very well established and very well respected within their industry. I can tell you that wholeheartedly. We've had a lot of projects with National Corps, beautiful developments. And I'm sure you've seen some pictures in prior meetings of some of the samples of that development. So we're looking forward to this project. Thank you very much.
Good evening, folks. My name is Nathaniel Vergal. I'm with LASA, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. Can you hear me now? Okay, apologize. Let me start over. My name is Nathaniel Vergal. I'm with LASA, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. I am the acting chief program officer for LASA. And I actually did not come with an intent to make a presentation, but to be available to answer questions. Given that I've been slated as a speaker, I will take just a minute. My fellow presenters stole my thunder in terms of the homeless count results. I do want to reiterate that we did see an 11% increase in seniors 64 and older across the county compared to a 9% increase for the general population. So we do see an increased need for senior housing across the county. That is not just the LA County issue. This is an issue that we are seeing across the nation as homelessness among seniors is rising at an alarming rate across the nation. I do want to share briefly, just hopefully to preempt some questions in terms of how residents will be matched to this building. So this is a project that we match to the coordinated entry system, which is a centralized coordination of homeless services across the county. We do work at a regional level, as was mentioned before, at the service planning area level, so that we can have a regional approach to homelessness. I do want to share that, and it's especially relevant, I think, to this project, but we recently passed some additional guidance in how we match individuals to subsidized units like these, project-based developments, that allows for and designates that matching will happen based upon program enrollments within outreach or other services local to the area, and so that we are really focused on allowing folks to be able to remain in the communities that they call home. So while I can't guarantee that every single one of these units will be matched to somebody from San Dimas or Verne, we do focus at the local area before expanding beyond folks anywhere else in the planning area. So I will be available to answer any specific questions if there are, but I will leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Are there any other follow-up comments by the project participants that you would like to present? Okay, so we'll now take it to public comment. As I mentioned earlier, we have 3 minutes for each speaker. To the right of the podium here in front where you will be speaking, you will see a timer that counts down from 3 minutes. When that timer reaches 0, I believe it's going to buzz, but we will be cutting off discussion at that point in time. If you don't want to speak or later decide you want to speak, that's not a problem. We'll make sure we make the call for those who desire to speak. I have a number of cards. I'm going to name 3 names so that the first 2 or 3 can come forth and be ready to speak. After we get through the cards, we'll open it up for those who want to come forward. No more than 3 at the line to be able to present. What we will be doing, along with the project participants, is documenting specific questions that you asked. For example, how many individuals were this house? Is the question. So I ask as your person, try to be very clear about the specific question that you're desiring an answer for. Speak a little bit slowly so we make sure we're able to capture that. And by the end, should be able to get through every question that you're getting an answer. So with that, we'll start with Mr. Glenn Holt, Pete Lewis, and Pat Leach.
Good morning, everybody. I was here last time, and we listened to your spiel on your logistics in choosing this site. Claiming 0.1 for bus. Opportunity
Salto. I will always call this my home, my home sweet home. Some say it's just countryside and city folks can't see wonders of a simple life, no other way for me. But sometimes I take the route out past the old smokestack, and every time I leave this place, the wind calls me right back. High on the hill, 5:30, grab your fiddle, we can dance all night. Might find good old time, we know how to live this life. I've got Carolina in my bones, Blacktop Hill or Old Salto. I will always call this my home, my home sweet home. High on the hill, 5:30, grab your fiddle, we can dance all night. Might find good old time, we know how to live this life. Way on the hill, 5:30, play that guitar, make it jam all night. Might find good old time, we know how to live this life. I got Carolina in my bones, Blacktop Hill to Old Salto. I will always call this my home, my home sweet home.
Carmen Henry.
Looks of this. This. Do want to get help. Just looking at your inner. Stand.
It's a 43. Going to be out and about. You can spend it.
Your resident of project. District 3, Sheila. Against him. Project of 30. For that. with all of this corruption, I do want to say he will push even national.
Daniels.
On her behalf. Neighborhood. Before we had a chance. The stakeholder. And we are the medical emergency.
We operate over again. His connection evidence. Together. And the transportation within that area I know
Next speaker. Let's
to see the city. In that that was for the do that. Openness. How did this get to? .6 acres.
There's a crazy thing in the sky. Get on up, girl, and take a ride.
A good thing.
Retro rocket. There's cosmic rays. Imagine that. So you best be rocking your tinfoil hat. Retro rocket. Retro rocket. Yeah, come on. Retro. Retro rocket. Ooh. Retro. Retro rocket. Retro rocket. The party's just begun here at Area 51. jetpacks. You better get some, just like my man George Jetson. Buckle yourself in, my dear. When we're walking through the stratosphere, I said goodbye to Daddy Mac, 'cause we're going up and we ain't.
We're being prayed for, that you may have wisdom, shrewdness, and the boldness to speak truth. My name is Michael Harrison. I'm a citizen of Laverne. My wife and I are proud homeowners for 26 years in the Fox Glen housing development. I oppose this project because it does not comply with the building and architectural codes of San Dimas and Laverne. Even an entity like the water company building in the next block of Foothill respects the design guidelines of the community and blends in, does not stand out. Unhoused adults, especially seniors, need to live near a transit hub, not a bus stop on a 4-lane throughway that transports people from the San Fernando Valley clear to Chicago. Essential services are required. How, and this is my question, please note it, how are the proposed residents supposed to get to transportation safely? How are they supposed to get to a hospital for a checkup safely? How are they supposed to cross the street safely when they may be impaired either by prescription medication or by disability? Thank you.
Mike Ebner, Leah Bengal, and I apologize, Marcia Yaros.
I just wanted to make one thing clear. The community is not, want to make one thing clear. The community is not angry at the homeless. They're angry at the developer. You're the ones that plan to build a monster-size, 5-story homeless housing project inches away from a school. You're the one that shows contempt for San Dimas and its unique history and customs and standards and small-town values. You're the ones that when this project was dragged out of the shadows and into the light, this was your first publication you put out promoting the wonderful things about the project. It's on the San Dimas website, and you brag about how there's neighborhood compatibility, that it's compatible, you claim it's compatible to the existing surrounding community. Those are your words, and everybody knows that's not true. San Dimas, almost every home, almost every building in San Dimas, over 99% of the buildings are 1-story or 2 stories. You planned on building a 5-story building that would tower over everything. Even 4 stories, it would make it the tallest building in town. And your setbacks don't come close to even our minimum standards. The front setback from the front of the building to the easement for the street, 5 feet. We can stretch our arms out longer than 5 feet. So here's the easement to Foothill Boulevard, Route 66, a really busy highway, and here's the building that goes straight up high into the sky. And the setback on the west side, just as bad, 5 feet 11 inches was your proposal. Anybody on an upper floor could open a window, spit, it would land on a school playground. So, and the tragedy is we should be allies on this project. Everybody in this room wants to help the homeless get off the streets, but your idea to pack them and stack them and cram poor people into a high-density high-rise is a very old idea, a bad idea, and in a small town like San Dimas, it's a really dumb idea. So my one question is, will you join and sit down with the mayor of San Dimas and the mayor of Laverne who know this community? Will you sit down and work with them to find a better, smarter, and safer place to help the homeless. Thank you.
Leah Bengal, Marcia Yaros, and Jack, Mercica. Mercica. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marcia Yaros, and I'm not trying to jump the line, but I don't see Leah coming forward. And I know we all want to move things along quickly. And
I'm sorry, ma'am, can you state, you don't have to, but can you state your name for the record and speak closely?
yes, I'm sorry. My name is Marcia Yaros, and I am a resident of District 5 in LA County for nearly 40 years, and I live in the neighboring community of Glendora. And I'm speaking out this evening about the need of every community to come together to find the right pathway to getting additional housing in our state. We're in the situation that we are in tonight where so many people are angry, in part because no community has wanted to go first. And so I look to the supervisor, the city councils, and the citizens to come together to find the right way to move this project appropriately forward. We all are sharing in the crisis of homelessness in our state and in our communities. And seniors are most likely to be on fixed incomes at a time of rising prices, as we all see. This development is expected to provide much-needed housing services and is intended to also benefit the local community with new sidewalks and parking and landscaping. I know that this is a minority viewpoint, but one of the things I love about our country is that everyone gets to speak their piece. Homelessness is a serious growing problem, and I believe all of LA County needs to pull together in support of good housing projects and find the right way to have every community participate and do its bit. Thank you very much.
Leah Bengal, are you in the audience? Leah? Okay, we'll set that aside and check at the end. Jack, and then Dennis Bertone, and then our third speaker will be Amanda Gutierrez.
Okay, Jack Musica. I've lived in San Dimas now for 42 years, and I just have some questions, and a lot of the questions I'm going to ask have already been brought out, but I haven't heard any answers, and I'm hoping to get some before the evening is over. First of all, the people that are being brought into the community, is there any guarantee or is there any kind of assurance that these people do not have mental incapacity, that they're mentally competent? We need to make sure that the people brought in are mentally competent. Not only that, but they are alcohol and drug addiction free. That's very, very important to the people in the community. And do they not have a criminal background? All right? Because if this were true, then you would not have to have them there for a long period of time. It should be only a safety net where maybe they can be there for 6 months to get their feet on the road. I have a lot of compassion for the homeless, just like many of the others. I'm a devout Catholic, and I also support St. Vincent de Paul and the Foothill Family Shelter. So I'm concerned about homelessness, but we have to be also concerned about the community in which the homelessness are being placed. If you don't have any assurance that they are mentally competent, that they are alcohol and drug addiction free, and they have no criminal background. And if you're going to put the people in jeopardy here by not making that assurance, and things do happen, then of course you would have to be open up to a lawsuit. I don't want my tax money going forever to this. This is not supposed to be someone that just takes advantage of the system and has no intention of finding work. It could care, you know, there's an old saying, you can't kiss a girl that's leaning away from you. You can't climb a fence that's leaning towards you, and you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. So we got to make sure that these people really want to be helped. Thank you.
Dennis Bertone, Amanda Gutierrez, and
good evening.
Houston
My name
Clement.
is Dennis Bertone, and I've lived in San Dimas for 48 years. Homelessness is not only a problem in San Dimas and Laverne, this is a problem throughout LA County, throughout the entire state, throughout the entire nation. I think it's the duty of all of us to participate, and all cities should participate in solving the problem. And this is mainly for the city council. I know most of you, I know the city managers, and you're all good people. And what you should do is find a place that's more appropriate, because I think most people don't approve of this. This is what I hear, being built where it's being built. Where is there a better place in San Dimas or Laverne to build a better place? That is your job to find out. And tell the city manager, and tell the supervisor for the county, this is where we want it. But we should have a place in San Dimas or Laverne or both, because we should all be participating in the problem. We should all be solving the problem, but maybe this is not the right place considering what the audience is saying. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Supervisor, for paying attention. But remember, it's all our problem, not just the people next door. I remember last time someone said, build it in Pomona. They already have places in Pomona. Let's find the appropriate place and let's take care of the problem. Thank you.
Amanda, Houston, and Rachel Barbosa.
Hello, my name is Amanda Gutierrez. I've lived here on and off my entire life, and my family has lived here over 50 years. I am, but thank you. I agree with a lot of the sentiments that have been proposed before. I think what you guys are doing is great. However, I think that you guys could choose a better location. I think that the city and Corps could work together to find a better place that would be more beneficial for those who live there, that would give them better opportunities, especially with transportation and job opportunities, things that would allow them to be more independent, including being able to walk freely to grocery stores, pharmacies, and anywhere else they need to go. Thank you.
Houston, Rachel, and Greg Ojeda.
Hey folks, thanks for giving us this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I was really a little bit disheartened to hear about the project, and mostly for the county folks here pushing this housing crisis. When we're talking about homeless people, the LAHSA representative here knows this. This isn't a housing crisis. We've been pushing this for some time now. The truth is, it's a mental health and drug abuse problem. Take a look around. All these people, they'll vote for you if you build a hospital. Put a treatment program where these people can go. LAHSA will tell you, they know this. When I've dealt with the transient homeless population directly and indirectly for over 20 years. And the biggest problem you have is they're benefit resistant. They don't want the treatment. And we pretend that we keep building these projects. So where have we done this? We've done it in LA. And how did that work for LA? It's a disaster in LA. Where else have you done it? In San Francisco, and it's an absolute disaster in San Francisco. They're doing it in San Diego, and it's an absolute disaster. Because of our policies as Democrats that we have a third of the entire nation's homeless population here in one state. And you're using all these folks as your ATM machine, because all we do is pump money back into that system, and it's broken. I'm just wondering, when do you go home and go, you know, our project, our plans and our procedures and our policies, they're not working anymore. Change the policy. If this were a private industry, all of you folks would all be terminated. You'd have a new... I'm not being rude. Trust me, I'm on your team. I want the problem fixed too. I'm not being mean. I'm using it as an analogy, right? The truth is all we're doing is funding more money. The mayor of LA now wants $1.3 billion with a B to do what? And the only people getting rich are all these groups. Like, a lot of people are getting paid a lot of money for these projects, and it's inappropriate. Sooner or later, you have to go to the mirror and go, you know what? Maybe I'm not as noble as I want to be. Change my policies. Let me listen to people and start building some facilities and force these people into a facility, the ones that are benefit resistant, the ones that say, hey, I don't want that treatment. Now you can force a law and say, hey, listen, you're going to the treatment program or you're going into custody. Because don't forget, it was Proposition 47 that we called Safe Streets Now, which we all know is a lie. Come on now, let's be honest, that's a lie. And Proposition 57 brought them all out of the jail and put them all in our neighborhood. We all created this problem.
Rachel Barbosa, Greg Ojeda, and Lily Brainerd.
Good evening, Supervisor Barker, Mayor Bedar, and Mayor Hepburn, and of course all of the council members from San Dimas and Laverne. Thank you for being here. My name is Rachel Barbosa. I've lived in the San Gabriel Valley since I was a small child, when church friends took in my homeless mother and her 4 small children. We lived in their family room for almost a year until my mother got back on her feet with government and church assistance. 13 years ago, my late husband and I moved to San Dimas. He worked 30 years for the LA County Sheriff's Department. And I worked for the Board of Supervisors, and most recently I was a city manager for another city in the San Gabriel Valley. I live a few blocks away from the proposed project site, and I'm here today to express my support for this desperately needed housing development for the most vulnerable members in our community, our homeless seniors. The county has declared a state of emergency and is doing everything in their power to identify housing opportunities in every square inch of their jurisdiction in all areas over the county, from Pomona to Long Beach to Palmdale Lancaster to Malibu and so on. All 88 cities in LA County must also do their part to support this massive countywide effort to provide a safe and resourceful environment for the unhoused. Neighboring cities are already doing their part, like Pomona, Claremont, and Glendora, who just purchased a $5 million facility to shelter and house homeless individuals. I assure you, the "not in my backyard" and hateful sentiments from today's meeting do not represent all of the members in our communities. I've heard from neighbors and fellow residents who aren't afraid of the housing development. They're afraid of the bullying and threats that an aggressive group is posting on their social media and yelling out to them in public spaces and the comforts of their neighborhoods.
Please, everybody, give her some respect, please.
What I hope comes from today is that both cities will unite on this one effort to identify spaces in our own cities to build similar supportive housing developments, and perhaps even a citizen-led joint task force that explores other ways our communities can support our leaders to identify more options to service and house the unhoused individuals in our region. As we've heard, this project is not in the jurisdiction of either of the cities that are hosting this meeting. It is allowed by right and is in the county area. So I ask that the project move forward on the next LA County agenda. Thank you.
Please, everybody, let's give some people respect here.
Greg Ojeda, Lily Brainerd, and the last card I have is Lisa Smith.
I'm Greg Ojeda. I live in Laverne, and I wanted to tell everyone who's making these decisions that Laverne is no stranger to outside jurisdictions coming in and imposing their plans for our city. And so one example of that is Brackett Field Airport. And if anyone knows anything about the history of Laverne, the Brackett Field Airport was opposed by the people of Laverne in the 1940s, I believe. It was after World War II. And they didn't want it to bring that airport, they didn't want that airport built in Laverne. And so ultimately the county had their way. It was a long lawsuit. It was drawn out. It was like 10 years. And by the end of it, the judge or whoever made the final decision ruled in the favor of the county. So we're no stranger to other people coming in and kind of like getting their way over what our wishes were. And so as far as what you're going to build here, my only thing is if we're up against an immovable object, the way I see it, isn't there some kind of way that we could get something on writing that would guarantee that this thing is not going to be a permanent thing? Because my main concern is that unincorporated land, according to a map that I've seen from 1885, was really the original land of the city of Laverne. And so I don't know if any of you guys know this, but Laverne it's one city now, but it was originally two cities. One city was called Lordsburg. That's where the college is, like all that area around the college, which is now University of Laverne. And the land north of Foothill was a separate city called Laverne. So in 1917, Lordsburg changed its name to Laverne, and that's what it is today. And so before they started, annexing all of the land, the original town sites started annexing the land all around their town sites and became what they are today. That land that this thing is proposed to be on is a part of the original Laverne. So I always thought that it was something that we kind of, in the back of our minds, people from both cities had future plans for that. We were going to one day get around to building something there that was complementary to our communities. And that's what I always envisioned the plan of that land was for. So for you guys to come in, I don't think anyone who lives in either city has a problem with you guys doing your thing there. But it's just that if we had some kind of a thing written down that you said, we'll have this for 15 years, 20 years, and then after that, we'll kind of relinquish it and let you guys have what you wanted to do with it. Let us do what we want with it.
Thank you very much.
Lily Brainerd and Lisa Smith.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Thank you for coming out. Mayor, we got your back, okay? We know you got our back too. So to the individuals who work for CORE, have all of you gone to that location? Walked it? Do you see the homes across the street? I live there. A lot of us live there. It's called the Fox Glen area. A beautiful area. So I am here on behalf of the children who don't have a voice to be here because they're little. But guess what? There are 5 schools. 5. There's an elementary school, Allen Avenue. There's a junior high, Ramona. There are 3 daycare centers, all in less than a mile. I'm never going to feel safe to have my grandchildren playing in the front of our lawn. I live in the corner. My husband and I have lived in Fox Glen area for more than 40 years. And guess what? We worked our butts off for it. We worked hard. Don't shove this down our throats. I understand about the homeless. I was a bus driver for Metro, and they lived in my bus. Okay, so I understand homeless. But you can't shove them in our faces. Our Fox Glen area, our homes are close to $1 million value. Some are more. We worked hard. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us. You wouldn't want us to do this to you. And don't go do this to another city. Don't go do this to any other city. You got to figure out a different way and think about the future. Think about our children. And yes, some of you said, be compassionate. Well, darn it, be compassionate to us, the residents, here, us. We have a voice and we vote. And believe me, we are going to do everything to do whatever it is to not have this here. Please, God bless us, and don't do this. Thank you.
Lisa Smith.
My name is Lily Brenner. I'm a citizen of Laverne for 19 years already. I can't believe that. I come from a communist country, okay? I used to live in this kind of house. I have design company more than 10 years. I make very good money. I live in a box. And then my husband, grow a rose garden, and then I come to city of Laverne, become a housewife. I love Laverne, I love St. Dimas because all belong Bonita School District. I always think St. Dimas and Laverne is a big family. So when this project comes up, I couldn't believe my ear, How much it costs? It's pretty much like an average single house cost. My house is not even like this volume. It's unbelievable. I used to design this. I know how much it costs. But if really have this budget for the single unit, I know this money is our taxpayers' money. My husband works so hard. I work so hard. We don't really benefit for anything. It's okay. We make more. We really like to help more people. I educate my son, be more empathy. I remember my son, 3 years old. He get all his money, $20 to put in the red envelope. His daddy drive him to the Pasadena, give everybody red envelope under the bridge. Okay, that's how my kids, they always get fundraiser, get the almost top 5 in the elementary school. So we always think they pay tax because we could help more people, right? So we're not the people who are not in my backyard. It's just ridiculous. I couldn't imagine the highest building between these two cities. It's gonna be whatever you call affordable housing or homeless, it doesn't matter, it's just a name. But I just don't want to see someday it will end up lawsuit. I feel like everybody around this area will really, really fire up later. If you have to build there, it will cause all kinds of lawsuit. Think about if my house next to this building, I totally understand. I live in Old Town of Laverne, so why I support the people who oppose this project? I totally understand that situation because I pick up my kids from Ramona and turn right, past the exact location. I couldn't think about, where is it? Is there any space there? Even smaller than my own land, my house, okay? So how could it possible in that area have a 5 storage higher like the palm tree? I just couldn't imagine that. It's just too ridiculous. Please take at least one day, sit there, okay, stay there. Don't just design something on the paper. I was a designer. I know how things you imagine something is so good, but it's not reality. Please stop this project. It's wrong place, wrong location. Thank you.
That's all for the cards that we have. If anybody else would like to get up and speak, just please state your name, if you could, please.
Hi, my name is Ari Morales. I'm a resident of Laverne. And this project represents a gross mismanagement of our taxpayer dollars, first of all. Second of all, it is a burden to the cities of San Dimas and Laverne. It's going to require additional resources from our police, our sheriffs, our fire station. I want to know how much is going to be given to our city to be able to support additional residents that are coming into our community that we are going to be required to service. A proposal for this development company is to meet with the Council of San Dimas and Laverne and have not the county, but the cities approve the projects that are in our cities.
I'm Barbara Nickel. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of the Mount Baldy area. And I'm here with basically one or two messages. And that is the League of Women Voters of the State of California, and the League of Women Voters of Los Angeles County, and the League of Women Voters of the Mount Baldy area support this project. We support it because we need housing for the homeless in Laverne, as do all cities, as has been mentioned here. We need housing for the homeless in San Dimas, as has also been mentioned. And I hear a sort of a misunderstanding about who the homeless are, actually. The majority of homeless people are not alcoholics and drug addicts. The majority of homeless people are not...
Please let the speaker go ahead and speak. Come on, courtesy for everyone, please.
The majority of homeless, there are homeless who don't want housing, that's true. But I'm sure a person who doesn't want housing is not going to be coming here. Nobody's forcing anybody to go into any housing that they don't want to go into. That is a whole different problem. The primary reason for the for homelessness in California and all over the country is a lack of housing. That's actually the primary problem. A fairly high percentage, as you've heard, the growing percentage of elderly people are losing their housing for a whole variety of reasons, not the least of which they're getting kicked out of the housing they have now, even though they've been paying their housing over a long period of time. Another growing area is families with children. I met a woman one time who was explaining how difficult it is to be unhoused. She and her husband both worked. They had 2 children. They were living in their car for circumstances beyond their control, and it was difficult just to get showers and bathed. It was so difficult, one of them had to quit their job so that they could live in their car. They did eventually find housing, but it took them a long time to get back on their feet. So this is permanent housing for people. And these people have a track record of maintaining the permanence of that housing. You want the homeless people in your communities to stay permanently housed.
Thank you for this moment. Mayor Tim, good to see you again. I'm kind of a double whammy here because I'm a resident of San Dimas and a business owner in Laverne for Laverne Physical Therapy. I pretty much have my entire life on Foothill Boulevard. It's so amazing to hear the number of years that some of my neighbors have been here in this community, 40 years, 50 years. I've been in this community for 13 years. I know that number exactly because that's the number of years my son's been around. We moved to San Dimas. We chose San Dimas, okay, because of the Bonita Unified School District, how beautiful it is, how wonderful it is. A lot of your kids grew up here, went to college, made lives for themselves. Some of them returned back to San Dimas. It's amazing to hear how many teachers actually went to the elementary school that they're now teaching at. That's the type of community that we live in, and that's the type of community that I chose. And I chose to open my business in Laverne because we love that Foothill Boulevard corridor. It's business, it's prosperity, it's a lot of great things. Thank you for everybody who was here and brought the numbers, especially to you, my lady with the purple, okay? Everybody here, I'm here in flip-flops and shorts today because I cut my vacation short to be here because this is this important. To everybody here that has compassion for the homeless, and I believe that's everybody here, but for everybody who spoke, God bless you, okay? You're truly Christian people, but the wool is being pulled over your eyes. These are not people for these people. These are dollar signs. We are looking at the homeless industrial complex here in our chamber. They are nothing but just leeches to our tax dollars. And enough is enough. Billions and billions and billions of dollars is being wasted, and things are getting worse. Lhasa, you're a failure. San Francisco is a failure. Laverne is going down the same path. This is not a temporary building. This is going to be here forever. And the money that they're going to collect from this will be in perpetuity. Perpetuity. We will be looking at this forever, and they will be collecting. And don't you for 1 second believe that this is going to remain senior housing, because as soon as the rules do not become convenient, they will change it, and we will have all sorts of people living there, including an expansion.
Another hard act to follow. I'll say, my name's Jim Carey. I've lived in Laverne and San Dimas since 1985. We've got some really great speakers in these two cities here. I'm looking at this with a little different perspective. And what we're really talking about is people get up here and say, well, the county owns this land and the county can do what they want. But what this really is, it's not a building, it's an island. And the county has this island that is surrounded by San Dimas and Laverne. And you can't get to that island without going through San Dimas and Laverne. So everybody that says you're coming, they're going to be in their county, they can't get there without going through Laverne and San Dimas. Now you got this building. And I don't see the numbers here. I'm an engineer. I like to see numbers. You got 42 units, and you got, I think you said 16 parking spaces. You got a manager with two bedrooms, that's 2 cars. They tell us there's going to be service workers here, but they won't tell us how many service workers, and the service workers have to drive through Laverne and San Dimas to park their car at the facilities. Now you got all of these senior citizens in there, packed into one bedroom apartments, and they obviously have families that are come visit them. So they got no place to park here. You got a bunch of bicycles, but I'm not going in there on a bicycle to visit somebody. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go park my car at the 7-Eleven, or I'm going to park it at the Arco, or I'm going to go across Foothill to those nice people that live in Fox Glen, and I'm going to park in front of their house on the Laverne streets. I'm going to go behind that thing and park behind there on the Laverne streets. This is crazy. So the county can't take care of their own place. Now, on top of that, the First Lady mentioned the extra load on the police and the fire department with the ambulances and all that stuff. I don't see any provisions up there. If this is a senior citizen place, you need a bunch of space, because every time somebody gets ill or falls down, and a senior person, you got a fire truck, you've got a couple of ambulances, you've got police cars, coroners, and everything else, and there's no space for any of that in this area. You got to redesign it.
If I could remind all of you to please state your name, but if you've already spoken, we would leave it for other people that haven't. That would be you. Yeah, if you're speaking once, we've got to get to other things too. We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak so we can go answer some of these questions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jacob Pierce. I was born and raised here in the San Gabriel Valley. And I do have a question, but first I want to acknowledge Catherine Barger for the outreach that she's done on this issue, the city councils for Laverne and Claremont who are here. But I also want to acknowledge National Core, because you deserve some kudos too. I'm a field organizer for a housing advocacy nonprofit called Abundant Housing LA. We want to build more housing, protect tenants, fund affordable housing, and we do support this project. And I want to give National Core credit for engaging the community. I mean, it may not seem like it because there's a lot of rancor and a lot of tension in this room right now, but this really is a discussion that's happening where the city councils and our amazing county supervisor are saying, we want you to listen to feedback. We want to have a discussion. We want you to engage with the community, and that's what National Corps has done. They've modified the project. They've reduced the size of it. Do I think it would have been a better project if it were bigger? Of course I do. That's the kind of bleeding heart I am, but I respect the fact that you're engaging with the community on this issue. So to my question, we heard a lot today about how people would prefer that instead of building housing, if we were putting money towards services. So my question is, which is more effective? Services for people who are unhoused, or services for people who have a place to go, who have a roof over their head? So that's my question. And then the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let the other folks go, is that I know a lot of folks have said tonight that they do support homeless services and they do support permanent supportive housing. They feel like this isn't the right location. Honestly, if you feel that way, that's great. I'd love to talk to you, because I support building permanent supportive housing and services in places all over LA County. And if you're interested in getting it done elsewhere, I have business cards. My email address is jake@AbundantHousingLA. So if you care about building housing for homeless people in other places, I'd love to have that conversation. Thank you so much.
I'll remind you, if you've already spoken, it's only one time at the mic. We have other business to attend to, but thank you guys very much.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody coming out and being a great support to Laverne and San Dimas and all our counties and cities. I've spoken before. My name's Barbara Morales. And, our founding fathers came here and they strive very hard to present a land, have the land opportunity to grow, and for their families. Never once was my kids homeless, because I was not lazy. I was taught by my parents to have work ethic. I was taught to strive and be the best that I can be. Handing and enabling somebody does not help them. I work with drug alcoholics all day long, mental health facilities. It's a revolving door. They come in, they go out. We have 3 guys missing right now, and they don't even know where they're at, and they have very bad crime activity in the neighborhood somewhere. This is going to bring chaos and destruction to our beautiful community and city here. We have families. We love them. We want to challenge these people. Step up. I know people that have been in housing for 20 years and have never got a job. They don't want to change. If you're handed everything, how are you supposed to go out and become a better person? You're saying the opportunity, we're going to help them. We're going to help them, challenge them and grow. No, you're handing them everything. I don't mind supporting my military, and I don't mind supporting my vets, because that's 100% that I'll do. But I would be damned that I have to go work hard every day, get up in the morning. I'm 54 years old. I've been working since 15 years old. I will work because I can work, and they can too. And I'm tired of supporting and funding everybody else with the excuses. It's excuses. You don't have to be homeless. You don't have to live a life like that. You don't have to be in bondage to drugs and alcohol. And Jesus Christ said, I came to come and set you free, and free indeed. We are not slaves to this. We need to stop this and stop enabling them. Help them, but help them in the right way. Teach them to be better. Teach them to go work. Teach them to go to school, not sit there and be handed everything. We all here work. We've worked hard and we enjoy our money. We love our families. And that's why we are all here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, stepping up to the podium. Could you wait 1 minute, please? Just 1 second.
Check.
Hi, my name is Laura Moon. I've born and raised in Glendora, and my husband, we relocated to Laverne 10 years ago to be closer to our only grandchild. We relocated to the Fox Glen area so it would be a safe area for her to walk to school. We would be close and a safe area for me to walk in the neighborhood. The core, I think you should be ashamed of yourselves presenting a PowerPoint that you are trying to sell us senior citizens into Hillcrest. You look at your pictures that you have on your PowerPoint. First of all, it's Pasadena City Hall that's displayed there. The welcome pictures were welcome to senior housing. This is not senior housing. We know that. It's unhoused housing. Your pictures on your welcome screen showed a beautiful man and woman seniors like they were going to be living in a hotel. We know it's not going to be that. We know it's for one person, one room. Why are you portraying something that it is not? We know that. The other thing is about the parking. I know it's been brought up, but I'm concerned. This is going to be across from my front door. Am I going to be safe to walk in the Fox Glen area without all the extra cars being parked? You have limited parking spot. You have many employees. City of Laverne, what is the parking regulations going to be for the Fox Glen area? Is everything along Canyon View going to be painted red so employees can't park there? What are you going to do about our beautiful park that homeless now are lying in? And I'm having to call daily because I'm afraid to walk down Canyon View and Fox Glen. I don't want to relocate to Glendora where my husband, the Moon family, started part of Glendora. We moved to Laverne because it's a safe community and we want to keep it that way. Please do not make it something that you're not planning on doing. It's going to look like St. Luke's in a few years. Drive by St. Luke's Hospital in Pasadena. All fenced off, all graffiti, all broken, homeless or squatters in there. This is what it's going to look like in 20 years. Yes, sir. Think about the location. Please do not put a postage stamp on this little pencil head because that's what you're doing. There's not ample parking. There's not going to be safety measures. You're not going to be able to keep these people out of the Fox Glen area. And who's going to be calling the Laverne Police Department every day? And City Hall, and Tim, and everybody else. It's going to be me. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Terry Prentice, and I'm from Laverne. And I think you get the sense that you don't have the support of the community for this project. And without that support, I don't think you'll be successful in it, except that if what it seems like happened is that this was kind of sprung upon everybody in a late into the program of getting this thing approved and on it, and it was going to head, and Supervisor Barger stopped the funding for it then, and thank you very much for that, Supervisor. But this is, most of the people here, 95% of us are concerned about homeless. We want to solve homeless problems. We want to deal with it effectively. We don't want a Band-Aid, and we're tired of the state and the counties throwing money at the situation instead of solving the problem. Housing First has been tried and tried and tried and has been a failure, absolute failure. They are not addressing the core issues of homelessness. I attended a virtual meeting of the Measure H committee in late last year. The money coming from Measure H, something like $600+ million a year. So in 4 years, they had spent over $2 billion. Homelessness did not go down. it increased by something like 20 to 23%. And now we're telling you we spend another $600 or $700 million, and it's gone up another 9%. That tells you what we've been doing is not working, and this is not working. It's going to be an eyesore in that neighborhood. It's going to be an albatross in the community. We need to start addressing core problems, not just throwing money away.
My name is Patrick Jones, and I reside in San Dimas. Been here 25 years. I grew up in Claremont, and so if you add that all together, it's 66 years that I've been in this area. My whole life, there's been homeless people in this area. We call them hobos. We call them a lot of different things. Most of the hobos that I met as a child, and I did because we used to hang around by the train stations, were by choice. They chose that life. And I've been in and out of law enforcement for a long time. I'm not an expert on homelessness, but a majority of the people that are homeless in the area are not homeless because they don't have a place to live. They're homeless because they don't want to follow any rules. And our life is about rules. And I know that you're not going to fix our homeless problem, because if you build this, we are still going to have the homeless that we have today, because that's not the people that are going to go in this facility. The other thing is that you have 42 rooms. And once you fill those 42 rooms, what happens if there is somebody from San Dimas or Laverne that needs a house? Well, it's already been filled by somebody else from within the county. So this isn't a fix. And we all talk about homeless, and whatever spectrum you're on, what you picture in your mind about what is homeless is not what's going, well, a majority of people think when they're talking about homeless, they're talking about the people that are on the side of the road, living in a tent, by the freeway, on the overpasses. That's what they're thinking about as homeless. Those people don't want to follow any rules. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to be off of their drugs and alcohol and whatever. Because anytime you go into any type of program, that's a requirement. So we're not fixing homelessness with this. There is, and my understanding is when it was first proposed was it was going to be homeless, and then it got changed to senior. And the concern has been voiced is if you can change it that quickly, it can change back. The state of California, a few years ago, there was a place called Latterman's. They closed it.
Thank you, Patrick.
Are we set for 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
All right. Are we having some fun now? Yes, sir. Let's look at the area of this building. That's about roughly the size that they want to build a 5-story. That is exactly about it, give or take about 10 or 12 yards. They want to put a 5-story building. They want to put a 5-story building right around this space. How are you going to do that? It's going to be pretty cool. All right? Now, we know why they want to build it. All right? We absolutely know why. We need to figure out how to move it. Because we know that that picture is not going to fit in this area. It isn't. Again, let's look around. All right? Since this whole began, I have now roughly over 5,000 voters just in Laverne and San Dimas that are against this. And that base continues to rise. They are unhappy. Hacienda Heights has a similar issue. Over 4,000 voters, and that continues to rise. An issue in Claremont, and their voters are calling me, and they will continue to rise. So it seems to me that just needs to be a change in a certain area in order for this to stop. And that's when we vote. And in 2024, we will vote. And we will make changes. We will make so many changes. And when people think that you have the ability to do something and say something, it may not happen, because those people that you think helped you before won't be there to help you again. We will make changes in 2024. Oh, so many changes. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Barger. Love your office. Love Vicki. Love you, baby. What I hope, Barger, I get it right. I'll get it right. No buts. What I hope for this particular building is that your supervisors, hopefully in unison, vote against it.
Thank you, Mr. Gill. All right, I see no one that's lining up, so this is going to be your last golden opportunity. If you haven't spoken and you want to step up to the microphone, this is going to be it. And then we're going to, and I see a lady moving forward, and then we're going to move on to ask some questions of the staff and the National Corps, questions that have come up during this exchange. And so anybody that wants to speak needs to step up behind this young lady, because the last person in line is real quick. But if you've already spoken, don't stand up. Ma'am? Anybody that's already spoken won't be able to speak again, please. Okay?
All right, let me make sure this thing is on and you guys can hear me. I do not live in Laverne or San Dimas. I'm your neighbor from Glendora, and we had a similar project built, but it was called the Avalon. It's high-rise building. It's expensive. It's ugly. It separates South Glendora from North Glendora as far as the view goes. So it's not exactly a person's experiencing homeless issue. It's a humongous building issue that doesn't fit in the neighborhood. Also, my mom spent the last 24 years of her life working on Skid Row for the Union Rescue Mission, so I know a lot about homelessness. So I don't need anyone to confront me later and say I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know a lot about homelessness and the experiences that they have. It's part of our life. And so that's not really the issue. It's placement, it's the building. And I think for the people who live across the street, it's a matter of property value. So I don't know, like, are you guys gonna appraise their homes before this is built and then appraise them after they're built and see what the difference is in their cost of their home, the value? Because their value, I don't know if it's gonna go down. Big buildings sometimes do that. So I think in all fairness, are these people going to be compensated for having their property value go down because of a big building? So with all the compassion in the world in my heart for those experiencing homelessness and being part of that community and advocating for them, because I do, and you can all look at me and think, oh no, she's full of it. I'm not. My mom dedicated her life to that. However, this is not proper placement. It's a small property in a residential neighborhood, and we just don't know the long-term effect it's going to have on the overall neighborhood. Plus, I waited a long time for Olives to open, and I love it. And it's enriched the community abundantly. It's a thriving personal business, private ownership of a small business, and don't we support small businesses? And they make the best cup of coffee around, and I think I see people walking over there and visiting, and they're coming up with their strollers and their dogs, and it's enriched their lives in the community. I have to drive over, but I still do, and park and get my coffee and whatever, but it's enriched the community, and I don't understand why we're going to tear down something positive that people got a loan and built up for something that's going to maybe not make such a good impact on the community as far as placement goes. Thank you very much.
I'm Cynthia Tyner from Laverne, and my question is very simple. Are you creating an opportunity for assistance? Are you creating an opportunity for complete dependence so you continue to get your income? That's all.
Hello, my name is Pat Hassan, and I am a local member of the community. I live in San Dimas. I just wanted to touch on a few points, a couple points rather. I'm an engineer, and when I look at this picture, it's just, to me, it doesn't scale well. I mean, it's not an efficient use of taxpayer dollars, in my opinion. So, I think that, in terms of what I would want to do is find a big plot of land and build something that is not going to basically, negatively affect other people's property values. I'm not sure why we're not doing things like that, right? I see 41 units here, 42 units. So, the other thing that briefly, I just read an article, so I'm probably not the most informed about this, but I think what angered me and angered the community was, I want to speak a little bit about the process. So, when we're designing a product, one of the first things we do is we do market survey, the voice of the customer. What does the customer want? And so I guess I'm challenging the core organization who has really, they've got these high-minded ideals, but did they actually do a market survey to indicate, what communities within LA County want these developments? Maybe there are some communities that really support and they want these developments in their communities. I would venture to guess that San Dimas Laverne is probably 90 to 95% opposed to this particular project based on the applause and so forth. So I think going back to that process, I think that it doesn't instill a lot of confidence in the core organization that if they're I was where they get this small sliver of land between the communities, and something's legal that doesn't make it always right. So I just wanted to kind of highlight the fact that, to me, it just felt kind of insulting that you guys didn't come to the communities first and say, is this something that you want? To me, my conclusion then is that, okay, there's a money motive. It's just the motivation is money. It's not really about helping the homeless. So, I think, and I'm going to leave you with a thought experiment. This thing could cause more homeless people than it solves, right? All the Fox Glen people, they might lose their nest eggs, all their values. They're most likely going to go down. And a lot of elderly people that have worked their whole lives, they're going to lose it. So.
Hello, my name is Ralph Shalafo. We've lived in the Fox Glen tract for 58 years. as of June 25th, was 58 years. We talk about affordable housing. That's what you're selling. Fox Glen, 58 years ago, was affordable housing for 2 young teachers. This project does not fit into the neighborhood, so that's pretty simple. I do have 2 questions. One, the communities are really making an effort to do their petitions. Does the petition matter? Do we need to have a number? And that's a question that needs to be addressed, because if it's a number that we have to hit, these people will hit that number. The second question I have is, being in Fox Glen on Canyon View, we have an easement by the water company behind our houses. How will that street be protected? There's oak trees behind that. That's the water district. How is that going to be protected when the people in this facility get bored because they live in a little cube and they're going out and exploring? So those are my 2 questions, but an observation, I ride bicycles every week. This is unsafe. Plain and simple. We drove down Foothill. We go down Foothill every week. Right in front of this is a steep hill. There is no room for a bicyclist to come down that hill without being in harm's way. You have to go on the curb, which is against the law. So for anybody to say that this is going to be a facility that doesn't have cars and they're going to be on bicycles, totally inappropriate. This rendering, I know it's not real for our project. Those trees in that street, there is no room for a bicyclist. So, and to address, you're there, the lady that was here earlier saying that she's going to protect the kids from Fox Glen, I was the 7-year-old kid that played in Fox Glen, and we need to protect Fox Glen.
Hello, my name is Ryan S., long-time listener, first-time caller. I just have a couple of questions. You mentioned, of course, you're doing everything up, you're doing from development, you're doing everything leasing is concerned. I'm curious, what do you have as far as vetting is concerned? I mean, I think I speak for everyone else here, is we do not want, as happy as we are to try to help the homeless as much as we can, I think I speak for the rest of us when I say we don't want a Megan's Law in our community. Second question is, what are contingencies in case someone gets kicked out? Are they going to go to another facility, or are they just going to be left out in the cold? Are they going to wander around the air until they get let back in? That's my only questions. Thanks very much.
Okay, it looks like that's going to be the last question. So we're going to take a 10-minute break before we start shooting questions that you've asked towards the National Corps people and the other folks that are here to help answer these questions. So a 10-minute break, then we're going to get started right on time because it's already starting to get late. It's 9:04, so at 9:14 we're going to start. Hello? We're going to get started. Please sit down, and then we'll get this thing moving forward. Tim? Mr. Hepburn? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you folks for sticking around. I think that break was needed on many fronts. Okay, I'll turn it back over to Chris.
Thank you for sticking it out. We're now looking at 3 hours of a meeting, and this is a short council meeting normally for us. So you're welcome to join our council meetings that go 6 to 8 hours with the deliberation we have. It's very robust. So we're going to make a slight change given the time and the hour and try to streamline and make this a little more efficient. I think I've captured all the questions plus the additions of other staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through one question at a time and pose it to the panel, any of the 4 entities or cities if that's more appropriate. Get answers and clarity, or the county, yes. And when we get to the end, I'll make one more call if there's a question that somebody asked that we did not ask, to have you come up and only speak to that one question. It's not intended for you to do another 3 minutes. It's intended to say, hey, what's the cost per unit? That's the question I asked and you didn't ask it. And so and then once we're done with this question and answer, we'll then go to the city council and the county to have their final comments and questions, and then we will wrap up the meeting and hopefully be home in time for cartoons. I don't know, something. So thank you. And please bear with me while I sit down since we're going to go through these. My face isn't that beautiful to look at by me standing. What is the current budget per unit for the new structure of 43 units?
In response to the question, what is the cost? So the development is approximately $33 million. That's a little over $700,000. We understand the cost of affordable housing. It is expensive to build affordable housing in California. That is something with what we grapple with across the state of California. There's many factors that go into that cost. One of them is that we pay prevailing wages, making sure that people on the job site earn a living wage. Also, a lot of the stuff that everyone is grappling with supply costs, increased interest rates, supply shortages, but that is a question. Thank you. Answer.
What do you charge the residents? I understand that this is an extremely low income population, so 30% of the average median income and below. What will you be charging a resident here?
So when it comes to the rent for the residents, it is 30% of their income. That's what they are responsible for.
Okay.
So that equates to $709 in Los Angeles County for a 30% area median income, one bedroom unit.
And that's one person per bedroom for 709?
A one bedroom unit, and yes.
And occupancy is just one, or are you doing two or more?
Yeah, so when a unit has a voucher, the resident is responsible for 30% of their income. And so I don't know if the county wants to add more to it, but that's what the resident is responsible for. And I believe that that's what the question was. What will the resident be paying? So it's 30% of their income. And I did hear out there that 30% of zero is zero, and that is correct. Okay.
I can just expand upon that. The large majority of residents that live in permanent supportive housing have some source of income. It could be general relief, it could be Social Security. Generally speaking, for seniors, it's Social Security is the main source of income.
I think the tenor of the question he asked was, what is the per person cost that I'm paying? So $790 in this unit, is it one individual, or do you divide it amongst more than one?
It's the income for the entire household. So it's the entire household income is counted, and for a one bedroom unit, it could be up to two people in a one bedroom unit.
Okay, so you would divide that in half roughly if you wanted to average it across one unit with two individuals. Okay. What are disabled people going to do if the one elevator fails?
So when our sites are opening, we go through an emergency plan. And so this is done prior to us leasing up the property by our risk management department. And so that emergency plan comes up with those what-if scenarios. And so in a case where there's only one elevator, all of our properties have two stair cases on either sides of the building. And then also we are working with our director of accessibility to look into installing wheelchair lifts and things of that sort. But in case an elevator does go out, there are stairs where residents can exit, and then also, again, our director of accessibility is looking into wheelchair lifts and things of that sort. But again, there is an emergency plan put on site, and also throughout the property there are signs where it goes over emergency exits for each resident to be able to access at any time.
And understand that some of the questions raised by the residents are have a differing tenor. So would you let your children or preschool child attend school having to pass this location and see impacts such as urination, etc.?
So one thing I want to say is thank you guys for coming out. We have definitely been listening to everything, every comment made. And so one thing I would like to put out there is that that we manage these sites as of today, which a lot of you guys know, and I heard someone actually has been to our sites. And so I say that because some of the comments made, I just want to kind of dispel some myths. So in permanent supportive housing, there are rules put into place that my team enforces. And so it's not a free-for-all. It's not you can just hang outside and, and do whatever you want. That's not the case. And so we have wraparound services. We work hand in hand with our amazing service team to make sure that the residents are following the rules. And so I just wanted to really go over how the property is run, because just to provide more context that there are rules put into place. And even when it comes to background screening and things of that sort, we do screen for background. If you are on the sex offenders list, you will be disqualified. We use a software that does a nationwide database search. And so if you have a felony, if you've committed bodily harm against another person, you will be denied. If you have a felony due to, selling drugs or anything of that sort, you will be denied. And so I urge everyone, I think that a lot of people believe that just everyone can move in, and that's not the case. There are rules. We do provide background checks, and so I hope that answered the question. Just when it comes to children and things of that sort, we will be managing this property.
The next question is similar, but the one component of it is specific to why would you select a location next to a school?
So yes, we look for a number of amenities when it comes to site selections, access to schools, pharmacies, medical clinics, grocery stores, public transportation. Again, we try to follow a lot of the housing priorities that the county has laid out in multiple different sources, following the housing first model. Focusing, not deconcentrating housing in areas that are low income. And so we do look for these amenities. We actually have a number of housing sites adjacent to schools. For us, we do want to place housing next to amenities, and for us, these are the amenities that we look for. All of our housing is going to be in proximity to schools, medical, pharmacies, and these are amenities that we look for when we place housing. When it comes to permanent supportive housing units, we actually have integrate this population with large families. We've done this in the city of Inglewood off a metro line, and it is 95 units. 50 of those are permanent supportive housing, and the other approximately 50 units are for families, and they're living in the same community with these children.
Next question is, how big is the service planning area, and how far are the boundaries of such area? Is it something in the order of 5-mile radius from a center point?
Sorry, can you hear me? Okay. Service planning areas vary in size. The service planning area 3 essentially is the San Gabriel Valley, Pasadena out to Pomona. In terms of how the coordinated entry system prioritizes folks, as I said earlier, the prioritization criteria, we draw folks, especially for project-based buildings like this. We look for folks who are enrolled in services, either in interim housing or outreach or other programs that are serving folks who are unsheltered or sheltered in the area, prioritizing folks from the area first and then expanding as needed if we're not able to find folks who meet eligibility criteria at the micro level. Due to federal laws regarding fair housing, we're not able to draw a specific boundary and say beyond that you are not eligible for a resource because it would be in violation of the law. We do prioritize locally first and expand beyond that.
Just to clarify, locally you mean SB3, or the expanded is all the SP areas?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So if you're looking at residents within SB3, you're looking at geographically closest to the project, and if there are not sufficient individuals in the pipeline, how far out do you go? Do you pierce the boundary of SBA3 to go into the other areas?
For a building with 41 people, we would never even get close to that.
Does the sidewalk go all the way down the block or just in front of the property? The sidewalk.
So right now in front of our property, there's no sidewalk. There is no sidewalk in front of the Montessori school. Our development we would improve, add sidewalk, not only in front, but we would work with regional planning as well as Caltrans to improve that, making sure that we have ADA access for our residents to get to that bus stop.
Are you able to squeeze the size of this project on this small site and be able to contain residents there?
Can you repeat that question?
Are you able to squeeze the size of this project on this small half-acre parcel and be able to contain residents there? I think they're referring to the individuals that are there not necessarily having the secondary effect of going out into the community, neighborhoods, and parks.
I think the first part of the question is, are we able to squeeze this project on the small size of the property? Is that the question? I think the answer is yes. I think at the beginning we started at 5 stories. We're 54. We're now at 4 stories, 43 units. To the point of squeezing individuals in, there are minimum unit sizes that we have to comply to. That's all driven by the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee. That's where we get our largest source of funding. And I don't know off the top of my head, but there are minimum size requirements. I think it's 450 square feet approximately. So these aren't micro units. It's all kind of driven by state codes and regulations. And we are also providing lots of outdoor common area space, over 3,000 square feet. That was part of our site plan that we showed last community meeting, as well as interior community space. I want to say it's over 2,000 square feet that will serve as flex space, multi-purpose room, case management offices, things for resident engagement. So there's plenty of space, interior and outdoor space as well.
So I think this also addresses where is your compassionate housing people in this small area? I think you're referring to both the unit as well as all the other amenities the property has, correct?
I think that response spoke to that, correct? I think, right.
Where is the additional $15 million going that is above the $20 million that this project should cost now that it's smaller?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, Chris?
I think the presumption is now that it was reduced, that this project is now a $20 million project. So since the original budget was around $35 million, what's going to happen to the extra $15 million that was originally budgeted?
So again, we can't answer. So I guess that's hard to understand. So it's just automatically saying that this should cost $20 million. Again, our total development costs that we said earlier is $33 million. So I'm not sure how to answer that question because those numbers aren't.
I think that's the answer. The project cost is $33 million, not 20, and there is not this $15 million available for something else. Who decides which companies conduct business with the county? This is businesses, I think, related to the project. Yes, and the second question, I think, is related to the first. Why does the county do business with non-reputable individuals? I think this was an individual that was referencing cases in previous situations related to members of National Corps.
In this particular instance, it was a response to a notice of funding availability. So we basically put it out there to any nonprofit or for-profit developers who met the criteria of the funding, right? And when you go through the scoring process, you've got to hit all of those benchmarks, and that's really what determines who gets the funding.
So in terms of the follow-on question, how is this factored into the $7 million grant? The previous two statements or questions would not relate to that. It would be the criteria that's in the NOFA that determines eligibility, correct, for that $7 million loan? Okay. Do we have any documents on property values going up or down due to this project, and are you willing to provide them?
So there are several studies that look at impact on local property values after affordable housing is developed, and all of those show there's no negative impact increase. And what we tell you anecdotally is many of our projects, once they're built, improving their properties because of the quality of those properties. I would invite you yes. Yeah, several studies out there. One of the residents asked me after the last community meeting for that data. I sent that to her afterwards. I'd be glad to share it with any of you. There's plenty of research out there, so if you want to question the research, that's fine. I'd be glad to share it with you, though.
Yeah, you can provide it to the city, and we'll make sure we post it on our website so that everybody can access it. So thank you.
We'd be happy to.
What are you doing to ensure physical security for elderly as well as proper escape routes during an emergency?
So just from the services end, we work with all the residents and provide education throughout their time at our buildings. We walk through the maps that are provided by property management. They're originally gone over at LISA, but we reinforce it throughout the year. We have evacuation plans. We work through creating a community. So we have activities that really create that neighborhood watch. Just like how all of you are gathered here today watching out for each other, the same thing occurs in a micro level in our communities. They watch out for each other, watch for people that shouldn't be there. That is their community, their home, and there's value to that. There's value to each of those residents that are residing there.
And so just to add to that, I know I had touched on it earlier, and AJ, thank you, with the emergency plans. When it comes to an additional set of security, most of our sites do have guards that, a standing guard after hours, and also we do have staff that stays on site. So just wanted to add that to it.
Thank you. The next question I think is related to the city, but I think it goes to the county. Will the city look at the traffic impacts here?
So the short answer is it's not required, but we are going to initiate our own traffic study because even beyond this project, I've heard there's some concerns with the need for possibly a signal coming out of the housing right across the street. So we're going to be doing a traffic study, but it is not required. We are going to do it on our own.
Thank you, Catherine. Will there be accountability drug tests for residents that are there? I think this goes to the selection criteria for residents.
Our also understanding with the property owner is they're aware, they were notified, they're aware that this development was going to be for affordable housing. And so our understanding with the owner is they're aware that this was short term, and they were aware that affordable housing was going to be proposed here.
How are proposed residents supposed to get to transportation safely, to a hospital safely?
Coordinated entry. From coordinated entry, then they have to meet the matrix criteria for the specific property, the specific unit, the income requirements, anything else associated to that unit. Once they're matched, they then have to go through the process of filling out income documentation, everything with Courtney's team. So no, there's a lot of hoops to go through. To deem someone mentally competent is definitely not our role. Our role is to provide folks that apply and meet the criteria and abide by their tenancy regulations, and that's our role. I mean, and Courtney, do you want to add anything else?
In this, the next question, when do you go home and realize, I'm sorry, I have to frame it as it was presented by one of the speakers. When do you go home and realize the project plan and procedures are not working? Do you change the policy in pushing this project forward? I think this would relate to, do you evaluate this and reconsider based on the input whether or not this is a good development for this location and the way it's fit, and do you reconsider that approach and policy moving forward?
So I'm going to try to answer that. I would say when we, again, we are, County of Los Angeles has issued a list of priorities. We're happy to discuss, but we're trying to work on development sites that meet the county priorities and trying to solve the homeless crisis of over 70,000 individuals.
The next question I think relates to, will somebody who resides in this housing unit become a permanent resident here? So is there something we can get in writing that this project will not be a permanent housing site? I think it's specific to once a resident goes in, are they never leaving?
Correct. This is called permanent supportive housing, meaning that once a person moves in, They're able to stay there as long as they comply with the lease. This is not a transitional facility. It's about stability. This is permanent supportive housing, so nobody has to move out.
I think it may also be could this project go from senior housing back to all age?
No, so we have land use regulatory agreements. This will be 55 plus individuals who are formerly homeless or who have experienced homeless. This would be in regulatory agreements not only with the state, with LACDA, and so it would not be able to change the population. For 55 years is our regulation.
And I'm understanding is the loan is 57 years. Is that just construction for the first 2 years and then the affordability covenant's 55?
Correct. Construction could take it out for 57.
Okay, thank you. Have all of you at National Corps walked the site and surrounding areas known as the Fox Glen area? Being given to our cities to support the impact and service that this population will have on those communities.
So any development will be subject to local development impact fees. So that's your police, fire, schools. And I guess in regards to your question, again, this development is located in the County of Los Angeles. And so development impact fees get paid to the County of Los Angeles.
So all the any financial implications relate to the county since it's not a local city property. Okay. What is more effective?
Diabetic or hypertension medication replaced, it hinders progress of their own health care. Honestly, housing is the best gift to someone and the best space of stability, a pillar of support to provide care and wraparound services.
The next one has some duplication from previous. So this is a previously unhoused project focused on 55-plus-year-old seniors. This may go to the city of Laverne. What are the parking regulations in the Fox Glen area that would be considered or contemplated after this project is implemented?
So throughout Laverne, there are nighttime restrictions on overnight parking. What a community can do if there is an impact from a high-density development or some other issue is petition for further parking restrictions, so it'd be a resident-only permit. So that's within our code, and it's within a lot of other city codes too. So more so what we would look at, again, is traffic flow. We would build upon the county traffic study. That's going to be very important to this. But it would be those parking permits, the resident permit parking, that would probably be the best approach to any incursion of extra cars into the neighborhoods.
And the next question is duplicating basically what's the city going to do with any secondary impacts that come from this project, and I think it relates to evaluating and responding to that. The next question is duplicate value. Are you creating an opportunity for assistance or complete dependence for the residents of the project?
I would say there's an opportunity for assistance. I mean, I think people go through different stages when they move into their unit. Someone brought up a really good point about isolation. We often see that within the first 3 to 6 months. It's a new space, it's new surroundings, new neighbors. Just like any of us moving into a new home, a new unit, you're getting to know your neighbors, getting to know what things you have around your space. But we really adapt the services to what's needed. So if we find that folks love salsa or love tango, we'll bring that on site to help people community build and find something that brings them joy and helps them stay connected to services. For case management, looking at things that allow for that space of engagement. I know an example project I have in my head, there's one individual that avoided us for like 3 months. We knock on the door, we leave a note, we were persisting. The one thing that the guy really loved was coffee and donuts. So we started Coffee Talk, and it was a simple way to get him downstairs, to connect, to have his coffee, to have his favorite donut, and it was a gateway to getting services. It was a gateway to making friends and connection, that social connectivity, helped with the isolation and helped bridge to services. So it's the little things. It's a mindfulness just like any other human being would need in their daily life. So yes, connected.
Thank you. Did you do a market survey to determine what the community wants in this, or if they want this type of project?
No, a market survey done for what the community wants. No, we follow. What we followed is the County of Los Angeles housing priorities. Again, there's 70,000 homelessness. They have a scoring rubric and a criteria which we followed.
The way I heard it is, at least when I heard the question was outreach, and you did not do outreach. So when they talk marketing, I hear that. Stop saying the county. One of the requirements is to do outreach, and that was not done. So I just want you keep throwing out the county's requirement. The requirement that our office has for any housing development that goes in is community outreach. And CORE, I've already talked to your president, acknowledged that it was not done. I just want to set the record straight on that.
Does the residents' petition opposing this project matter?
Yeah, I just want to respond to that and say we fully acknowledge that we should have started the outreach earlier. So I want everyone to hear that. We should have started that outreach earlier, but that is the reason why we're here now, though, is to listen, and why we've had several community meetings, and we're happy to listen, and we're trying to collect that feedback now, but we acknowledge we should have started that sooner. So I want you to hear that.
Does the petition opposing this project matter?
Let's let them speak, please. Please.
Yeah, the petition does not have an impact for us as a developer, no.
How will the water, there was a reference to the water district in a street within the Fox Glen. So how will the water district street in Fox Glen be protected, which I think it relates to the impacts that potentially come from this development?
So I think when the question was posed, it was, if the residents, if they got bored, would they go and vandalize or, damage anything. And so it just goes back to one of my previous statements, we will definitely be imposing rules. And so we'll have community meetings, things of that sort. You guys are more than welcome to come to the community meetings with the residents. But we will have patrol, things of that sort. So in a nutshell, we will be monitoring anything, and if anything does come up damaged, you can always bring it up to management.
Let me clarify that. In terms of the enforcement, the rules, the ensuring the elimination of any nuisances that occur on the property, you're talking about on the property site, not necessarily residents that maybe create a nuisance off that site, correct?
Well, when things occur off-site, we actually, and on our other projects, we do have our neighbors around the area. If something does come up, whether it's our residents, whether it's not our residents, they do bring it to our attention. And if it's within our power, we do help, escalate, because any community we go into, we have a great working relationship with local PD, our city officials. And so even if it's not our residents, even if it happens to be one of our residents, if it's not on site, we do what we can, because at the end of the day, we are a community. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think if I heard the concern correctly, it was if I'm in one of the units and I'm abiding by all the rules, I'm not allowed, I can't evict somebody who is following the rules, making the payments and whatnot. If I'm engaging in criminal behavior off the property that you have no nexus of control, that is not something that you have that is actionable. So if I create an encampment in the Fox Glen neighborhood on the water property, that's an issue between that property owner and law enforcement. It does not have a nexus to something you can do, correct?
So if it's our resident, we can speak to them about it.
Is it actionable?
I'm sorry?
Is it actionable? So if they're conducting that behavior regularly, can you evict or take some punitive action on them?
If it becomes a nuisance, if it violates a law, then yes, we can evict.
Okay. And this one, I didn't understand the question. This was from Mr. Ryan S. What do you have readiness concerns was one question. And then the second question was, where are residents getting picked up from this property when they're picked up?
Can you repeat that?
The second question is, where are residents picked up when somebody's picking them up from the property? But the first question, I don't really have clarity on. The question was, what do you have, it's something related to readiness concern.
That's the law center. In terms of how you triage to get them into your project.
So do you want to answer the first? So can you clarify? I'm just not sure I understand the question.
How do you triage who is being placed in this facility? When it comes in contact, and then what you do, to get it into this facility?
Okay. So as was mentioned, there are a number of hoops. Some of them are related to the homelessness system. Some are related directly to the building in terms of their screening criteria, including criminal background checks. From the coordinated entry system perspective, as I mentioned earlier, we draw the pool of folks that are matched to units based on folks being enrolled in programs that are serving the local area. We prioritize folks who have their documents in order because we want to make sure that folks can move in quickly and meet the eligibility criteria. So there is what's referred to as the coordinated entry assessment, which is a tool that helps us better understand whether folks will need services ongoing or not. And based on that, we create these pools of eligible individuals. We specifically, as I mentioned, have made amendments to the prioritization that allows us to have increased focus on the local jurisdiction. And we've also expanded the pool so that we're not just placing the most vulnerable, so that we don't end up creating buildings that are all super high acuity folks with really intensive needs. We have a mixed community in these buildings, but all folks who need assistance.
So we're coming to the end of the question, so I'm now going over a secondary list that has a lot of duplication. So there should be a few questions. What are the potential jobs for residents living at this facility?
So I think it's a variety. Like you or I, we have different skill sets. We have different interests and we have different abilities. So I think it's, someone mentioned Starbucks as not being an option. I think that being a great option. Starbucks has great benefits. I think even stock options, things like that. It's really what meets their needs. I don't think I can dictate what all residents in the building want, but we do offer linkage to job coaching, resume building, connections to opportunities within our training programs. I don't know, Greg, do you want to add a little bit more to that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I just share. I mean, these are seniors again, and they have life experiences and job, experience as well. So we play off of that. So we have case managers that work with them individually. We also have a program we call Core Academy, which is actually a workforce development training program that can allow them even to work in property management. So it depends on what their interest is that we would connect them with appropriate jobs.
And the last question relates to parking. And it appears that you are not properly evaluating the need for parking. What are you doing to ensure that there's adequate parking that doesn't have an impact on the community?
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Bodak, and I'm the Director of Regional Planning. You heard from my associate, David DeGrazia. I sent him home because he's getting the sniffles, so I didn't want to sit next to him, frankly, anymore. The question is related to parking, and I want to go back to rules. And unfortunately, there are rules that all cities and the county must comply with, and this property and this project has to comply with those rules. And the rules are that these types of projects do not require the amount of parking that you or I or most people would think would be required in this location or in any other general location that's not in downtown LA. That is a fact. But this property is providing 16 parking spaces. I believe they are mostly volunteer parking spaces, and it exceeds the number of parking spaces that the rules require them to have. So we were talking about rule following a lot today, and they are following the rules. I understand that a lot of you don't like the rules, and my opinion is irrelevant here, but we have to follow the rules that are given to us by the state. The county has to follow those rules, and the cities have to follow these rules. So even if this project were in a city, whether it's Pomona or the Antelope Valley or Laverne, they would still have to follow the same rules. And so in this case, they are providing 16 parking spaces.
Thank you. That was the last question. And so what we're going to do now is I will turn it over back to the mayors to do the closing and any questions that the council would have, and then we will adjourn the meeting.
At this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to Supervisor Varder for any last statements or any questions that you may have.
I do have one statement that I just want to get a clarification on, because there's been some confusion about how this is funded. The county's funding stream is ANOFA, the $7 million that you asked for. How is the breakdown on funding coming to your project? Because people think it's county. I want you to clarify that, please. Take the $7 million off the table. Where's the rest of the money coming from?
Sure. So the capital stack of the development, the county funding, but it comes from permanent, regular construction and permanent financing, as well as tax credits. That is a capital stack of financing: permanent loan, construction loan, LACDA, and our tax credit equity.
The LACDA is the $7 million, the NOFA. No?
It's 6.3. It's based off of per unit, and so with a reduced unit count of 43, we'd be at 6.3.
Okay, I just want to make that clarification, because this project's being compared to the one in Hacienda Heights. They're two different projects. That one is a project home key. This is a by right, and so I just want to clarify that. But in closing, because I know it's getting late for you all, I want to thank you all for coming out. Please know that your voice is heard, both pro and con, because I agree 100% with the individual that talked about the fact that housing alone is not going to get us out of this. So my ask of you is, when I'm fighting to build a mental health facility and getting pushback, I hope you all are going to show up and use your voice to support me, so that we have beds available for those that are not going to qualify for this type of housing. Because I will tell you that it is very tough when you are one of five and you don't have the backing. So what I saw here tonight is there's a will Now we got to figure out the way to build that side of the equation, which includes rebuilding a facility downtown to address those that are incarcerated that are not eligible for detention, which is a whole nother issue, but that's our jail. So I'm going to be calling on each and every one of you, not personally, but I kind of know who I can call on to get the word out, to help me get the word out that while this project is moving forward, wherever it is going to be, and I appreciate the willingness to sit down with the city of San Dimas and Laverne, but I also want you to sit down with me, because I think that the three of us it'd be worthwhile. But having said that, on the other one, mental health addiction, I'm going to be knocking on your doors asking for you all to use your voice to support me to get the state and the federal government to allow us to build facilities to address those people. So thank you. I'm an open book, yes. Of course. But it's not going to be a public meeting like this. I think that we're going to get a lot done. But absolutely, I mean, Vicki, in my office, our office is open every day except for Saturday and Sunday. And I'm all about transparency, which is why I made the comment about lack of outreach. Because quite frankly, had they not applied for NOFA, through the county, we probably we would have found out about the project when you all found out about the project.
Does our petition matter to anybody?
What did you just ask?
Does our petition matter to anybody?
So the petition is, and I appreciate what Amy said because it's not a popular thing to hear, but I'm going to say it again. This is a by right project, which means that so long as they comply with basic building codes, because of the state, and I'll give you the legislation number, it is AB 2162, Permanent Supportive Housing, the California Public Resources Code, which is a CEQA exemption, and the state density bonus law, all done at the state level, have taken away local control. And that means from the county and from the cities. And so I love your petitions, and I promise you we try to respond to every single person that writes into our office. But in something like this is not going to come before the Board of Supervisors. That's why I corrected my new best friend about the fact that there is nothing to vote on right now at the board. There is nothing. This is a by right state project.
They actually did answer that question, but yes, they did. No, that's okay.
I'd like to respond to that directly. I actually put my kids in a school next to a development like this. And they were incredibly safe. There were never any issues. So yes, I would choose, I did choose.
All right, at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mayor Hepburn, who's going to ask each one of his council members to make either a statement or they may have a question within it, but we're going to combine that so that we don't have two separate times coming back to question. So there'll be a question-answer type closing statement from each of the council members. Here's Mayor Hepburn.
Like Emmett said, that's what we're going to do. Councilmember Lau.
Thank you. So I don't have a question necessarily, but I would like to address both the concerns that the residents have raised and the way in which we have come to this place. And so I can say with wholehearted, from the bottom of my heart, that I believe in providing the services necessary to help people get out of homelessness. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk about the services that you provide and what you can do. The streets, the better for all of us. However, having said that, I would then urge you, because there's no necessarily going back in time, right? None of us have a time machine to redo what has been done. However, I hope that you are taking this away as a lesson. Correct that after the fact doesn't build credibility with anybody, quite frankly, right? And once trust is lost, it is really hard to regain. And so I think that, you know, there are going to be people who are skeptical of what you are doing. There are going to continue to be people who question. So as a lesson learned, I think if you really care about the people that you want to put into this supportive housing, as I'd like to believe that you do, then think about what it must be like for those people to have to move into a community that feels this way, right? Like if they are looking for a way to build that community and rebuild their lives, putting them into an environment where people have misconceptions about them or already fear them is not good for them. So if you say you are doing what you are doing to benefit these people, then I urge you to make your actions match your words. And to Supervisor Barger's point, the outreach should have happened on the forefront. And again, there is no time machine that any of us can get into. Trust me, I'm sure we'd all like to be able to do that at some point, right? But that's not going to happen. So what I would urge is, you've already expressed that you would be willing to sit down with both cities and the county to think about a way forward that addresses the concerns and moves forward in a way that is helpful, or as helpful as possible, to all concerned. And that means both the people that would be serviced by this project, but also the residents that it affects who already live in that neighborhood. So again, if you say that you are for these people and that you are for correcting the homeless issue, then I need you to think about that the next time you go into a community. How are you engaging the people that live there already? How are you educating? Because you're not helping if you're not doing that on the forefront. This is really difficult. And I think, you know, you've seen the emotions, not just from tonight, but from prior meetings. And I'm not saying it could be avoided, because you're not going to change every heart or every mind, but you're doing a disservice by not thinking about that on the forefront. So I am hopeful that I will be hearing soon about when this joint meeting will take place. And I'm hopeful for fruitful discussions and compassion, as was discussed by many people here, for everyone concerned. Because it is late, and we are all here, and most of these people don't get paid to be here. So, you know, think about that. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the services you've discussed, and I think let's try to do better for next time, and I look forward to working with y'all to make this something that can be workable.
Thank you, Councilmember Lau. Councilmember Mesho Kashapagita. Cash.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, National Corp, for stepping up and being here in front of all our good citizens. You had mentioned 5,009 people are actually homeless in Area 3, which covers San Gabriel Valley. We are putting less than 1%, spending $33 million on less than 1%, 42 people to be put right here in our good city of Laverne, or as San Dimas Road, the person said earlier, where this was Lordsburg, and this now is Laverne. Makes me kind of wonder if this land really belongs to Laverne. Sorry, San Dimas, love you guys. But you know what? I chose to live in Laverne. I was growing up with kids in Laverne. I've worked in Los Angeles for over 24 years in law enforcement, and I have worked in the areas of Skid Row, and I can tell you exactly what happens when that community comes to our area here in Laverne or in San Dimas. I chose to live here, you chose to live here, and you chose to have me represent you. Not all of you, but most of you, and that's what counts. Here I am. It is what it is. But what this sounds like to me, it sounds like more of a transitional housing and rehabilitative center, not an area for our seniors. And you know what I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask our great county, you know, if we can get that $7 million grant to the city of Laverne. I'll even share with you the city of San Dimas, so we can give those seniors that are teetering on the right there on the line of homelessness an opportunity to get out of it, because I've knocked on your doors and I know how much you get on Social Security, and I know how much it hurts for you every single time when you're a veteran and your VA disability doesn't even cover your mortgage or your rent. You know, I'd like to help that person out so I don't have them added to the 5,009 that are in our San Gabriel Valley of 15 cities. America, we are strong. And you had mentioned that you do whatever it takes to keep people housed. I will do whatever it takes to support my community, and here in the city of Laverne, and of course, right here, neighbor, a city of
I'm frustrated by our lack of local control over projects like this, and I understand that this is a county area, so neither Laverne nor San Dimas has jurisdiction, but it's very, very frustrating. But even within our own city limits, we get these by right projects where we have no control in denying it or different things that we used to have control over. It's just very frustrating. Lastly, Catherine, thank you for being here. I appreciate your attendance tonight. To hear what Laverne residents are thinking about projects like this, and San Dimas residents, I just have to say thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Couple questions. Los Angeles County Development Authority. When did CORE apply for this particular grant for the development? Process 22 or 21?
22.
22. But it was stated on the property by CORE that Olives Market was not aware of this 8 months previous to that. So how does this all gel out? CORE said that it was 8 months. Olives didn't know about that there was going to be, that they were only a temporary location for Olives Market, but yet you said that 8 months, this was before, 8 months before Olives Market was even there. Is that correct?
So let me clarify, I think what we said when we entered into contract, Olives Market was not there. I think we said, what I said was, I believe what I said was, I don't believe Olives Market has been there more than 8 months to date.
When did you want to purchase the property? What was the date that you purchased the property in Olives Market? Was it November also?
We haven't purchased the property.
But you're in purchase right now.
We have a contract.
You're in a
purchase and
contract.
sale and agreement.
When did you become in contract?
That's a tricky question because it's a private party and I can't give kind of contract details.
Just give me a date. When were you in contract? When did you even discuss contract?
It's a PSA approximately.
Right now, as a mayor of my community for the last 3 years plus, that you were in discussing contract for a by right proposal in our council meeting of the supervisors to approve your $7 million funding. And until we got a call and our county supervisor staff said, we told them, you guys need to pull this because we know nothing about it. So I guess back to the original, as Council Member Lau said, shame on you. Shame on you for not coming and telling us what's going on when it affects the lives of our community. That is my district in Laverne. And I'll be darned if you're gonna come in here without a fight from our community. You think 5,000 signatures is some? You wait and see how many signatures you can get. This isn't the first thing that's happened in our community where we fought. We're a small little town, but you know what? We're tiny but mighty. So at the end of the day, you guys need to sit down with us. And my suggestion would be, let Olives buy that property. You come back to the drawing board between the two cities and find another place for this development. Because I'll tell you what, I was elected in this position along with our council to protect our residents in our city. And I'll be darned if you guys are gonna come in and do this, because you know what? We're a very generous community. You just come and talk to us both and we'll figure out something for these unhoused people or these 55 and older. We have 7 mobile home communities in our city of Laverne. I know the city of San Dimas has 1. That we carry a lot of veterans and people that are still on the brink of losing their homes. But the point is, you messed up. You didn't come and talk to us first. Give it back to Olives. Let's find another place for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Laverne. I think we know they're in the house.
All right, try to beat that, San Dimas.
I'm going to take this time to go ahead and recognize Councilman Nakano. Eric, you have something you'd like to say?
I wanted to thank the community for coming out. The hour is late, but your voices are strong. And so thank you for expressing your opinions, sharing your thoughts, and providing input to all of us. All of us up here listen very carefully to what you have to say, and we hope that we can move forward and find a solution. I want to also recognize the supervisor. Thank you for coming out and for spending time with us this evening, as well as my colleagues on the Laverne and San Dimas City Councils. To the staff that came out from National Corps and from other county and offices, thank you very much for listening to the community, for engaging. And my ask is that you continue to listen to them, that you engage with them, and you open up additional sessions for them to express their views. These are their homes. What you are proposing will have an impact on them. And so my ask is that you continue to engage with them and work with them to find a path forward. Lastly, I want to acknowledge the Laverne Police as well as our sheriffs for keeping us safe tonight, for staying late in the hour. We acknowledge your service and thank you again for keeping us safe and for staying late as we conduct democracy here in the city of San Dimas. Thank you.
Councilman Weber.
It is late, and because it is so late, I'm not going to
build a soapbox that's too high. I do have a couple of questions that I think are very pertinent, and that starts with, in light of this particular site, what we've discovered through this whole process is that it's incredibly inappropriate for a project of this scope and size on such a tiny piece of land. And I'm kind of curious what other project sites, potential project sites, were considered for this particular housing project. Because I think from what we've gathered in the community and from people speaking tonight is that no other sites were considered. It was a postage stamp of land that was available, and it was something that you guys could do, so it shall be done. And I think that's the prevailing thought, and that's why people are so vehemently against the project, because it's, you know, like I said, so inadequate for a project of this scope and size. As we were talking about rules, do the rules that people would have to abide by include a no crime clause? I know some low income or affordable housing include no crime clauses that if somebody is convicted of a crime, whether it's on-site or off-site, whether their lease is terminated or they're in breach of their lease. And as we were speaking about rules, rules for parking came up, and how the rules don't require additional parking. So I'm a little confused by that. Yes, the rules, my impression was that they don't require additional parking, but do those rules preclude additional parking if it is needed and deemed necessary and a part of the project, and the developers want to add more? You know, to touch on, I guess we'll loop back to those questions at the very end, but as somebody said, about engaging the community and figuring out what customers want. And I think in light of everything that we know, we aren't the customer. And that's the sad truth. We're the ones that pay for it, but we're not the customer. The customer is the person that's going to be residing inside of this facility. So when National Corps specs out a project, they're not necessarily focused intently on what you or I or the community may want. They're focused on what the resident may want, which isn't a bad thing, but I do fully agree with everybody else that spoke up here that the outreach at the outset of this project was not sufficient, and I do think, like I said at the very beginning, that led to a lot of misconceptions and understandings about this particular project. I'm very pleased to hear that there would be at least some hearing out of San Dimas and Laverne for potential alternatives to this site, because I, like many people have said tonight, I'm absolutely in favor of addressing homelessness. I'm excited that that somebody's willing to do it. However, this is clearly not the place to do it. So if at some point we could address those questions, thank you again, National Corps, for coming out, all of the elected officials that are here tonight, and thank you to the community as well.
Mayors and members of the council and Supervisor Barger. Yeah, the answer to that question is you're correct. While we're not able to ask for parking, there is a provision that they can provide it. And so in this case, they did provide 16 spaces. It is up to them to determine whether or not they feel that that's
very clear set standards, manufacturing, distribution of methamphetamine, and other list of items that could immediately call for eviction. For a lot of our sites, I would say most of them, we do crime-free programs. So we work with PD, we create and cultivate a community of watching out for each other. And that does change the dynamic because people value their space. They value their peace and quiet in their homes. And to have crime-free set up, it creates that unity.
Trigger a lot of people in the room, let alone a termination of a lease contract. So I really certainly hope that would. But you know, a lot of the things that were brought up tonight were quality of life issues, like you know, somebody were at the facility were to be convicted of a vandalism of a car across the street. If that were to happen, would that be something that would trigger the termination of a lease?
I think I'll just echo what Courtney stated earlier. I mean, we work with all of our neighboring communities. I know at other sites, if things come up with teenagers, because we know teenagers can be very active sometimes, those issues are brought up to property management. They work with the community, they address the issues. Sometimes it's working with the family unit. Sometimes it's working with the community partners, whether it's on-site or off-site. You know, we value the surrounding area. So I've seen Courtney's team do a multitude of different coordination and working with families and situations like that. So I would say that would be echoed here as well.
And then I don't know if somebody wanted to touch on the whether any additional locations were considered for this particular project.
On the note of sites, that comment, this is definitely not the only project in pre-development that we're working on. We work every day to look for other opportunities that could fit financing that comes out at all levels, at local, state, federal as well, in all regions, all counties, up and down the state of California. So we definitely have other projects that we're continue to work on, and we do look for alternate sites like this that continue to fit into the scoring, the goals of the different entities from where these dollars come from. So
I completely believe that you are continually looking for more sites. What I'm specifically referencing is whether there were any alternative sites that were considered for this particular project. Or was it this piece of land is available, so we're going to build it?
Yeah, so I think you kind of answered that question. There wasn't a specific target or focus on this. It is a real estate development project. Real estate is hard. Affordable housing is difficult. It's like threading a needle. You got to align your sources. You got to address the cost. So part of it, at the crux of it, is like you mentioned, you got to have a willing seller to work with, and there's economics involved. You know, we got to come to terms, and like you know, folks said, National Core has it's good to hear, a very good reputation, and so part of that is with the business community, the brokers, the sellers out there, and fulfilling and seeing our agreements.
I appreciate that, and that's all the questions that I have. I appreciate you answering them. Thank you again for the community for coming out, but as other people have said, statewide, we vote for this, so we need to do better, I think, in the future. So that's all. Thank you.
Councilman Vienna.
You know, it's funny, at my day job, for you guys, for National Core, the county has something called these car meetings, and one time, you know, when Anna was Justice Deputy and this guy named Joseph Charney was Justice Deputy for Zev Yaroslavsky. I sat there looking like members of Family Feud contestants with my employer trying to answer questions of a panel that just kept getting thrown at you. And so I very much empathize and commend you for sitting through this and getting through and getting the answers out that need to be gotten out for the community, because it's important that they know. That being said, I find it highly offensive as the representative for the 4th District in San Dimas, where this place is, that I've literally never met any one of you. And I've attended all of your community meetings, your virtual one. I attended your last one here. And I've also been very vocal in educating the community. And so when I hear you say that you guys engage your community, it's hard to believe, and to the points that were raised by my colleagues here. And Cash and Wendy, you guys are very motivating speakers, by the way. I appreciate your fortitude. But it is very concerning to me, because I want to believe that you're going to do this work. My brother-in-law is homeless. I've dealt with that with my wife, and it's a very challenging thing, especially for someone like him that struggles with addiction. But when you see that, people have to want that change, right? And that's hard, and it's hard for the community. And I think that's the hard thing here, is that, people need supportive factors. And, when that person doesn't want that change, it makes it that much more difficult for this type of project to be successful, and the sentiment in the community. I wonder, when you say you're going to work with the members of the community, what does that mean to the taxpayers in the city who are going to be burdened with providing those services? I'd be interested in what your impact is on first response to your places, all of your places, because I'd like to know what the taxing measures are on the fire department. What's that going to do to utilizing our resources from the fire district? How long is that going to tie up our ambulances? Because it is regular, and we do have senior housing here. The one thing that these two communities do really well is prioritize seniors. And we have a lot of seniors housing. Tim, we have more than one mobile home park, by the way. But thanks. Well, but when you talk about that, Laverne has her own police department. San Dimas contracts with the sheriff's department, and that is an island, as someone referred to it, as of unincorporated area. And so, some cities have solved problems by deeming places public nuisances and things like this. Like when people go and they see that a small business that doesn't want to, or a large big box doesn't want to address commercial theft, and next thing you know, they say, well, hey, maybe this place is a public nuisance, and what happens? We have to become responsive because of the crimes that are going out into the community from the tentacles originating from this place. So I bring that up because I wonder, San Dimas Sheriff's Department contract is going to be burdened with some of this. The citizens of Laverne and their law enforcement and their fire department may be burdened with this if the county fire district is busy, in some sort of mutual aid adventure. So I really wonder about that. And I'm really happy, and I thank the supervisor and her staff for one, stepping up with the traffic study. I think that's important. I think it's super important that we're here tonight. But, I've been in government a little bit in my career, and I almost wonder if this is just an exercise in getting the $7 million. And I really don't want to believe that, but I have to wonder, since I haven't heard from you, and have any of you heard from them? I mean, that's where I'm at with that. So it's great we're here, and it's great that we're having these public meetings. But I think outreach has been the theme of everybody's comments tonight. I do hope you can get some of that data related to responses. I understand your response at the last meeting was that that's the county's responsibility. You did say that the county would be responsible for law enforcement service response, and that's a sensible response because you're in a county parcel, but that's not pragmatically what's going to happen as it relates to where that's going to come from, unless you have a county car. What's funny about that, in terms of law enforcement deployment, it's a pocket. So the odds are that you're going to have a San Dimas Sheriff's Station or city deputy respond to that first and handle that before you're going to have a county area car get there. And not to get in the weeds on that, but I think it's important to note that it's not without any impact to these cities. It's a very real impact that you guys are going to have. And I really hope that you take to heart the things that people have said here tonight. And as I said earlier, I am very much supportive of what you guys are doing in terms of the mission and the cause. I'm hopeful if you are willing to talk about alternate sites for this project. I'm 100% willing and committed to helping you find that, even if it's within our city. And I can think of 2 places right now that are available to do something like this, but that are more suitable locations for this than what you're looking at right now. So that being said, I want to thank you for everything you've done and everything you've shared tonight. Thank you to the community for coming out. You're not heard, and I think you've seen that here. Thank forward and help us achieve our common goal, which I think is helping people, improving people's quality of life, their mental health, and that's not just the people we're looking to house, but it's the people that reside here and the people that do business here. So thank you so much, and thank you, Laverne San Dimas, for getting to that.
Councilman Ebner, I'll be brief. Usually I have a few pages of notes, but I'll be brief this time. I'm not happy about the way that this came about and the way we were surprised or hit from the side by it out of nowhere, it seemed. I'm especially not happy that the state has taken away so much local control from both the city and the county. After all, we're elected to, as my colleagues have said, improve and maintain the quality. housing. These folks are not going to be moving from the project.
Already been said about a dozen times. I do want to take the opportunity to just relate back. I can remember on April the 18th, at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was riding with the city manager when one of my fellow councilmen called and said, "Did you know that this county was about to give $7 million away in about a minute?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, I started hearing about a project. And April the 18th at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm being told that they were doing a lot of talking back on the 22nd. There are people that are wrong here, and I'm not sure that it's the county, I'm not sure it's the city, I'm not sure it's National Corps, but I do believe that it's our fellow Californians up in Sacramento who have now determined that they're going to take the National Corps, they're going to take the county, and they're going to take, National Corps is looking at a way to make money. Okay, you're not taking the freedom away from what we have now. So, but I do want to thank, Catherine, thank you very much for pulling it. It gave us an opportunity to find out what was going on. And I think meeting after meeting, we seem to find more. And I'm hoping that as we progress down this path, we really find out what the real truth is, and not the truth that's being sold down, by all sectors, especially from the state who says we have to do this. National Corps, I want to thank you for coming today. I know it's not easy sitting over there, like someone said, like, contestants or something like that, answering questions. And this county staff, thank you very much. I know that Catherine's staff has been beat up to death over this whole thing, and we apologize, but it came as a real shock to us.
That's okay.
I will say that just recently I had the opportunity to spend a meeting with Catherine and Mayor Hepburn and to talk about homeless, and it just wakes our eyes up a little bit more about what it is. It is a problem, but we all know that's the wrong place. It's not going to, I'm not going to sit back and watch this little postage stamp end up controlling what's going on between us and San Dimas. I know some people wanted to ask me a question about, hey, you said something back a while back, something like, hell no, we won't go. And right now, I don't think we're planning on bending over and continue with this project. But like Councilman Vienna said, there may be other places, other locations. And the only time I've met with them was the last time we were here. I said hello, I waited in line just like everybody else. But yeah, I've never heard anything from them. But I have questions, but I don't think any of us want to hear my questions right now. So look, if one of you people out there will say I move to adjourn, I will say adjourn. Only one, I only need one. We're adjourned. Thank you very much for coming in.
In the minutes? Yes. I'll draft them and give them to you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.